Why are you shouting? You're a thief too, you know. Oomph. Black Fox narrowed her beautiful eyes and snorted, clearly offended by Ace's reaction. Her tone wasn't as cold as usual, more like an annoyed girl than a deadly assassin. Ace took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. He had known from the start that this girl wasn't normal, but he hadn't expected her to be this crazy. Who would choose to become a thief if they had another path? At the beginning, he certainly hadn't wanted this life either. But with his system, he had no choice but to walk this road. Now, things were different. Ace no longer hated being a thief. In fact, he was grateful to the system for giving him a chance to become someone extraordinary. Why? Ace asked quietly. Why do you want to be a thief? My mother was a thief, Black Fox replied, a trace of pride in her voice. She was from the Shadow Devil clan, one of the top 10 clans of the All-Devil continent. But as she spoke, a deep sorrow flickered in her eyes. Why, you're a devil. Ace felt his worldview collapsing. A real devil was standing right in front of him. How could he not think this was insane? First, he had discovered that his adopted little sister was actually from the number 3 race, the Hunter race. Now he'd run into someone from the Devil race, the number 1 race of the world. No, dummy, let me finish. Black Fox corrected him. My mother was a Shadow Devil, but my father was human. I'm half Shadow Devil, half human. She calmly cleared up his misunderstanding. And why are you telling me all this? Ace asked, startled. This was clearly a huge secret, yet she was tossing it out so casually. I think if we're going to work together, we should at least trust each other a little, Black Fox said seriously, nodding to herself. She crossed her arms under her chest, which only made her look even more alluring. So you're half devil and half human. Ace frowned. But what does that have to do with forming a partnership with me? You're so slow. Just let me explain first. Black Fox said in an annoyed tone. She's definitely crazy, Ace thought, exasperated. But he kept a calm face. He didn't dare provoke her into going off on some new tangent. So, she continued, my father was human and my mother was a devil. He saved her from human cultivators when she was being hunted down. After that, they fell in love. They stayed quiet this time. Even he found this story interesting. It was extremely rare for a devil to fall in love with a human. Devils almost never mated with other races. After they decided to stay together, they settled in a 1-star city. It was a safe place where they could live peacefully. No one there would discover my mother's identity or my father's past. She paused, then went on. But 2 years after I was born, a group of cultivators arrived. They weren't from the lands of cities. They were searching for my father. Before he met my mother, he was a high-ranking officer in some powerful force. He betrayed them and ran away with her. In the end, they still managed to find him in that remote place, probably using some kind of strange treasure. My mother had no choice but to reveal her Shadow Devil origin. Once she did, they also discovered what she was. There were 4 of them, all as strong as my father. They fought a brutal battle. My father managed to kill one of them. Seeing that, the 2 fighting my mother used a treasure to launch a sneak attack on my father. My mother saw it first and used her own body to block the attack. That treasure was poisonous. She died from that one strike. Black Fox's voice trembled slightly, but she kept going. My father saw her get hit and die right in front of him. Enraged, he went berserk and killed the one who had launched the poison attack. But the last one ambushed him from behind. He kept fighting both of them in his madness. In the end, those 2 used some strange ability and escaped with their lives. My father was gravely injured and fell into despair after losing my mother. He brought me here to Riverflower City to seek shelter from an old friend. After a month, we arrived. His wounds had mostly healed, but he was afraid those 2 would come back. He also wanted revenge against the power behind them for killing my mother. So he left me with his friend, saying he would return after a year. Black Fox's eyes dimmed. After he left, I stayed with that man. He took care of me for about a year and a half. But he wasn't a kind person. He had his own motives. Once he was sure my father wasn't coming back and probably died seeking revenge, he stopped being afraid. He sold me to the young miss of the Grant family for some ruby coins. Black Fox finished her story, her expression twisted with pain as she recalled her parents. especially her mother's tragic death. Ace's expression softened. Her past is even harsher than mine, he thought bitterly. So, why did you seek me out? Ace asked quietly. He no longer looked at her with hostility. After that man sold me to Lila Grant, Asher's mother, she wanted me to become Asher's maid. She liked my appearance and decided to train me. I was just 4 years old, but I'm half devil. My senses were very sharp even back then, so I remember everything clearly. Still, after losing my mother and then my father disappearing and then being sold off, I was terrified of being abandoned again. So I did whatever Lila told me and learned how to be a good maid. But when I turned 7, my Shadow Devil clan's blood memory heritage started to awaken. I suddenly gained the memories of certain skills and cultivation techniques from my devil lineage. Confused, I told Lila about it. At first, she didn't believe me. But when I showed her one of the lineage skills, she immediately took me to the family head and told him everything. That old man was very knowledgeable. The moment he saw it, he guessed I was a devil. In this world, only devils possess. He wanted my lineage memories. I was naive and told him everything. But my memories were incomplete, and he eventually realized he couldn't cultivate my clan's skills or techniques. After some tests, he discovered I wasn't a pure-blood devil. Then he lost interest in me. Black Fox's eyes turned ice cold. Later, I learned that when devils reach 7 years old, their bloodline starts to awaken and they inherit memories from their ancestors. That's what they call blood memory heritage. What kind of memories and how complete they are depends on the density of the devil's bloodline. That's why devils are the #1 race in the world. They don't need to search for techniques. As long as their bloodline density is high enough, they can awaken their ancestors' entire cultivation memories. But I'm only half devil. That's why my skills and techniques are incomplete. She finished with a dejected look. Ace didn't know how to respond. He felt a dull ache in his chest for this girl, along with a strange emotion he couldn't quite name. The Grant family had lost interest in me after confirming I was only a half-devil, Black Fox continued. But he still didn't let me roam free. After seeing my abilities, he knew I was a natural-born assassin and dangerous because I'm a shadow devil. So he planted this black mask on my face. It's like a slave mark, but far more advanced. A normal slave mark can control someone by force, but if that person becomes too strong, the mark eventually breaks. This mask is different. It's a high-level slave mark. It can't be undone by normal means. That's why I came to you. Only you can help me. She touched the mask on her face, her expression bitter. This curse had chained her for years. She had always wanted to escape the Grant family's control, but she was powerless. But you wanted to find a way to remove this slave mask? Ace finally understood why she was so desperate to form a partnership with him. He was still confused about one thing, though. Why him specifically? I don't want you to find a way, Black Fox said quietly. I already know how to remove it. I just need you to get that method for me. Her tone turned mysterious. Where is it then? And what do I get in return for helping you? If this is supposed to be an equal deal, you have to offer me something too, Ace replied. He sympathized with her, but he wasn't going to risk his life purely out of pity. I'm offering myself, Black Fox said with a playful giggle as she struck an even more seductive pose, highlighting her curves. Stop joking and answer properly, or I won't help you, Ace snapped, breathing a little harder. Hearing myself and seeing her posture almost made him fall off his chair. His heart was pounding in a way he wasn't used to. I'm not joking, she insisted. Didn't I say I've always wanted to be a thief like you? Once you free me from this hell, I'll be your partner in crime and follow you to become a great thief. Her gaze was firm. She was completely serious about it. You really are crazy. Why would you want to be a thief? And even if you do, you can go be one alone. Ace barked in frustration. He genuinely felt like he couldn't handle this girl. The reason is simple, Black Fox said softly. My mother was a great thief too. When my father first met her, she was on the run after failing a job. She used to tell me stories about her adventures, how she stole from bad people who bullied the weak. I was completely captivated by those stories. I always wanted to be like her. I'm going to become a great thief who steals from bad guys. Her fox-like eyes shimmered like stars as she declared her grand goal to Ace. Ace almost cursed it out loud after hearing, "Your mother was a thief, and you want to become like her?" Ace repeated, completely stunned. "Yes," Black Fox replied without hesitation. "That's been my dream since I was little. But once I became a slave of the Grant family, my life stopped belonging to me. After they discovered my special abilities, they trained me as an assassin instead. I had no choice but to follow their orders. Once my training was complete, Lila Grant handed me over to her son, Asher Kelby, to do his bidding. He's adored by both his father, the current head of the Kelby family, and his grandfather, the head of the Grant family and Lila's father. He's also the one who put this slave mask on me. That's why they were so calm about sending me to his side. They knew I couldn't do anything with this thing on my face." Her eyes turned icy when she mentioned the Kelby and Grant families. She hated them to her very bones. After all, they were the reason she'd lived as a slave all these years. But if the mask is that powerful, how are you even able to resist their orders and come to me for help? Ace asked, confused. Even though he was still new to the cultivation world, he at least understood the basics of slave marks. Someone bearing one usually couldn't disobey their master. If this fox mask was stronger than a normal slave mark, it should have been impossible for her to defy Asher's will. "That's because of one of my lineage skills," Black Fox said seriously. "No one knows about it. With it, I can bypass the mask's control to a certain extent, but it can't remove the mask. If they ever find out I possess this skill, they'll kill me without hesitation." "Are you an idiot?" Ace snapped. "You're not even scared that I'll tell them your biggest secret? What if I sell you out to save my own neck? Or kill you right now and silence you forever so no one ever learns about my identity?" His tone turned darker. "As for the Kelby and Grant families, I can hide. I can even leave this city entirely, and you know very well that I'm capable of doing that. So why are you trusting me so easily?" Ace didn't know her. She wasn't family, nor someone important to him. Yet she kept revealing secret after secret like it was nothing. It made him uneasy. This girl was no fool. She had figured out his hidden identity from just a few clues. You won't do that," Black Fox said with a small, knowing smile. "Because you're like my mother." She looked straight into his eyes. "You robbed that fatty because he was evil and always bullied the poor. And after he went crazy and killed innocent people, you gave their families 10 ruby coins each without showing your face. But do you know? Everyone knows it was the Black Ghost who helped them when no one else would listen. They call you a hero of justice." Black Fox's gaze turned nostalgic. "My mother was the same type of thief. She only stole from rich and wicked people, and she helped those who were oppressed and ignored. Her father had always scolded her mother, telling her not to fill a child's head with stories like that. But her mother never listened. She kept sharing tales of her heists, near-death escapes, and the people she saved." Black Fox still remembered her mother's words clearly. "Remember, Eva, there are 3 kinds of thieves. First, those who steal from anyone, rich or poor, good or bad. Second, those who only steal from the weak, because they're cowards who fear the strong and bully the helpless. Third, the rarest kind, those who steal only from the wicked and help the weak." That was the last lesson her mother left her before her tragic death. "Your mother was truly a good person," Ace said quietly. "I'm nothing compared to her." He didn't hide the respect in his voice. That kind of thief he could only admire. Eva giggled when she saw his slightly dazed expression. "That's exactly why I wanted to find you and form a partnership," she said. "Because you're a loyal person. You wouldn't do something as shameless as selling out your comrade just to save your own life." She had investigated Ace thoroughly before deciding to approach him. She wasn't placing her life in a stranger's hands on a whim. "Tell me how I can free you from this slave mask," Ace said at last, "and I want to know everything about the Kelby family's strength and situation." He genuinely wanted to help her if he could, but more importantly, he needed to complete his mission. By now, Ace had a rough idea of what kind of power the Kelby family held. They were the number 3 family in the entire inner region, and he had to empty their treasury within 2 years. He almost cursed the system out loud. "Oh, so your next target really is the Kelby family," Black Fox said, smiling. Looks like I wasn't wrong about you. You really are a kind-hearted thief, just like my mother. In her eyes, Ace was about to judge the Kelby family, a black-hearted clan that treated her like property and did all sorts of evil. Ace's face reddened slightly at her words. He wanted to correct her misunderstanding, but he had the feeling she'd hit him if he said he was only robbing them for his own selfish reasons. She definitely has some screws loose, Ace sighed internally, deciding to let her think what she wanted. He wasn't that third category of thief. He was something new. He robbed people to get stronger. It was that simple. Cough, cough. Ace cleared his throat twice to hide his embarrassment. Listen, can you stop with all this kind-hearted thief nonsense and just tell me how I can help you get rid of the mask? In return, you can give me all the information on the Kelby family. He'd given in. He didn't want anything else from his crazy girl. If she could give him solid information on the Kelby family's security, or even help him slip into their territory, that would be more than enough. First, you have to officially form a partnership with me, Black Fox huffed. We're a team from now on. Like real teammates, you have to help your partner first. Then we handle the official business together. Official business? That's a system mission. Ace really wanted to yell that, but he forced himself to stay calm. He let out a long breath. Fine, we'll form a team, and I'll help you first. But if your skills aren't enough, or you slow me down, I'll run and leave you behind. Now tell me how I can help you. His frustration was clear. See? That wasn't so hard. Black Fox beamed. I promise I won't hold you back. I'll follow your orders. Since you're the team leader, you should name our team first. Team leader? And why do we even need a name? Ace asked, already feeling a headache coming on. Because you're better than me at thievery, and you're already a famous thief, she said matter-of-factly. You'll be our leader. In the future, our team will be known throughout the world. So, of course, we need a magnificent name that strikes fear into the hearts of bad guys. She is definitely a madcap, Ace thought, smiling bitterly. All right. I'll be the leader, he said quickly. He didn't want a team in the first place, much less to spend time naming it. So he just threw out some vague promise. You're right, Black Fox nodded solemnly. We'll decide on a name once we're famous. She actually bought that, Ace thought, feeling both relieved and tired. Since we're a team now, we should introduce ourselves properly, she said with a bright smile. My name is Eva Jude. You can call me Eva from now on. Ace White. Just call me Ace, not team leader, he replied with a wry smile, shaking her snow-white hand. He had no idea that this forced partnership would one day shake the foundations of the Golden Sky world. Okay, Ace. Now it's time for you to help your partner. Eva chimed happily. Just spit out already, Ace muttered. He was on the verge of losing his mind. At this point, he barely even cared about the Kelby family. He just wanted to solve her problem and shut her noisy mouth. In his eyes, she talked way too much. If Asher saw her like this, he would have thought someone else was wearing the Black Fox mask. Normally, she was cold, spoke only when spoken to, and never said more than necessary. That was the Black Fox everyone knew. But in front of Ace, she behaved like a spoiled child. Even she didn't fully understand why. From the moment they met, she had felt strangely close to him. Fine. I'll talk. Stop rushing me, Eva said impatiently, noticing he was about to explode. You're the annoying one here, Ace cursed silently. If you want to help your precious partner, you have to infiltrate the Grant family's treasury, Eva said at last, her voice full of excitement, like a child about to embark on a grand adventure with her team leader. What? That night, the entire and heard a shrill scream filled with regret and despair.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support, we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Ace wanted to cry, but no tears flow. He was regretting now. He should have escaped from here the moment the room door was opened and should have run far away from Eva. But alas, there was no medicine of regret in this world. Now he already promised her, so he will help her. His parents and grandparents always teach him to never break his promise or go back on his words. That Kelby family was already difficult to deal with, and now I have to rob the Grant family as well. If I robbed even one of them, the other will be on high alert. It's not the outer region after all, and Eva will be in trouble if I rob Kelby's family first. That Asher will definitely notice something and maybe become suspicious of Eva. Ace thought gravely. She is irritating, but she's a kind-hearted and straightforward girl. She even tells me about her biggest secrets. I can't abandon someone who put their trust in me. Ace was in a predicament because if Eva didn't tell him about her past and secrets, he would have already chosen to do the system's mission. Besides, he didn't want to admit it, but it was his first time making a friend in Little Life. Why are you perspiring like rain? We can rob both families at the same time if you want to rob the Kelby family that much. Eva said softly after seeing Ace acting so silly. She finds it quite amusing, though. How can we rob them both? Ace demands instantly. If he didn't want to rob any one of them. My mom once told me how she robbed 3 treasuries at the same time. Eva told Ace proudly about her mom's achievements, as if it was her own. Tell me about it. Ace ignored Eva's, who was acting haughtily like a peacock, and urged her to tell the whole story. Ace wasn't an expert thief and was a new bud in this domain. He can rob one of the big families here, but 2 at the same time was a near impossible task for him with his current skills. Thus, if Eva's mother was really a great thief, then her experience was very precious helpful to him. Listen carefully. Eva earnestly begins to tell Ace. After 2 hours, Ace's eyes were shining like stars after listening to Eva's story and were amazed by the way thievery can be done. He was now fully convinced. Eva's mother was really a great thief, and he learned a lot from just by this one tale. Which fool says being a thief is easy? Too much planning is needed just for single thievery. In my opinion, being a thief is even harder than ascending heaven. Ace mused bitterly, but there was a particular thrill in his eyes. First, we have to select a target. You can do that, and I'll be going to infiltrate the Grant family. If we do this, we have to tend extremely carefully. If we make a mistake, even a little, we are finished. I can always escape, but you will die as a result, so remember to be very cautious. Ace reminds her gravely. Ace didn't consider Eva an outsider anymore, because she was helping him more than he asked for, and unknowingly, he really starts to treat her like a teammate. Don't worry about it. The most important task will be done by you, and that made you the core of this plan. You have to be careful more than me, Eva said with a light chuckle. She has also noticed Ace's change in attitude and feels genuine concern from his voice. She was very happy about it. After all, she did all this to win Ace's trust and honestly wanted to form a team with him. Because her mom once said to her, "A great thief needs a great partner." Therefore, Ace was the perfect partner for her. He was smart, has great skills, loyal, and trustworthy. She also has to admit he was somewhat handsome as well. That's why she told the truth from the beginning, because she knew a person like Ace would never abandon or betray a true friend. Furthermore, she vaguely felt very close to him and put all her trust in him for some unknown reason, and that faith comes directly from her blood and soul. Eva didn't dwell on this strange, inexplicable feeling and think it was just because she meets a thief like her mom. All her attention was on the plan of robbing both families who treated her like slaves for many years. Finally, it was time for her sweet revenge. She was excited and afraid at the same time. Excited because her dream was becoming true and can finally become like her mother, and afraid because she didn't want her team with Ace to break with any mishaps. You should go first and report to Asher. He could be a huge hindrance to our plan, so we should get rid of him as soon as possible, Ace said with an evil smile on his face. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Eva faded like smoke after look at Ace one last time. She does have some skills. Ace smiled lightly. In the morning at Kelby shop top floor. You can't find him. Asher's angry voice resounded on the entire top floor. Yes, he was remarkably quick to escape the city after getting rid of Caleb's party. After my investigation, I found that the inner gate guards see a person with the same features leaving the inner region. A cold yet sweet voice answer. She was Eva, or right now Black Fox. She was wearing her usual full-body black armor, and her eyes were as cold as ice. She looks nothing like the lively girl who meets Ace last night. That fraud run away after he does this to me. Damnable. I can't sleep in peace until I torture him. Go and find where he came from. Just find anything. Asher barks while grinding his teeth in anger. He determines and will not stop until he finds Ace. Black Fox emotionlessly said, I already did, and it appears he was from the Red Mountain City. What? Red Mountain City. Asher's face turns ashen because he clearly knew where this city was, but the actual problem was Red Mountain City was a one-star city, meaning a large-sized city where he can't mess around wantonly. Are you certain that Brat was from Red Mountain City? Asher asks uncertainly. Yes, I already checked twice, and he is apparently from the Red Mountain City. Answer Eva coldly. Asher didn't even think about Black Fox can lie to him, because she was with him for 5 years and never lies to him or failed her mission even once. She was like a machine that never gets tired or disobeys orders. That's why he trusted her blindly. It never occurs to him that this was Ace and Eva's plan to lead him in the wrong direction and make sure he didn't get in their way. Asher pulls a long face and becomes extremely frustrated. He was having a hard time believing that someone has escaped his grasps, and the person was who makes him smell rat shit. This was his greatest humiliation of life, and he can't even get revenge now. It made his anger reach a new level. But he can't go to a one-star city just to get revenge, right? Even if he goes there, where can he find him in that big city? He didn't even know how his mortal nemesis looks like only Caleb knows. Eva spoke when Asher was about to swallow his disgrace and give up on vengeance. I also find this note from where he was staying. She gave a white folded paper to Asher. This small paper was going to be the last straw that broke the camel's back. Asher brows tightly frowned and received the paper. How's was my gift? Hee hee hee. Those words were filled with ridicule and scorn. Damnable bastard. Asher explodes furiously. His handsome face turns black as charcoal, and veins pop out on his forehead as if they're going to explode any time. He knew exactly who wrote this letter just by these disdainful words. Black Fox, go and request help from my grandfather. I want that bastard no matter the cost, even if I have to go to hell myself. Asher roared with a face full of hatred. He finally loses his reasons and never even thought that Ace planned to send him out of the city. Yes, Eva vanished after receiving Asher's command. Idiot. She mocks Asher in her heart. Meanwhile, when Asher was blowing his top, Ace was heading towards the Grant family territory. Suddenly, a gust of wind passed him, and a little piece of paper appears in his empty hand. He didn't surprised by this because he knew this was Black Fox. Ace read the little note and snickered sinisterly. That idiot really believed it, just like Eva said he would. In the letter was a report on Asher's current actions. After reading, he sends a little heavenly chi in the letter, and it turns into fragments. It's my turn, I guess. Ace activates stealth and vanishes into Grant's family territory. Grant family was ranked second in the inner region because they have an expert at the peak of Chi Gate's realm, just half step away from reaching Chi Foundation building realm. He was Asher's grandfather, the current family head of the Grant family, Ryland Grant. Chi Foundation building realm was the next realm after Chi Gate's realm. Only the city lord was in this realm, and because of it, his family, the Layton family, were ranked first in the inner region. Ace was currently standing in front of a rundown building. It was the servant area of the Grant family. All the servants live in this old building. Grant family didn't allow servants to go outside of their territories because in Grant family eyes they were not people, they were mere slaves. Ace hurriedly went inside the building. He knows security isn't tight here. Who cares about the security of slaves? So, if one can pass through all the family checkpoints and reach the servants' area, there is no security at all. Ace entered the old building. The inside was clean, but there was some strange smell inside. Ace saw rows of rooms, and all the doors have no locks. One can enter as he wishes. This is the treatment Grant's family gave to their servants. They treat them like animals. Ace felt rage. He didn't think noble families of the inner region were worse than the outer region. At least in the outer region, they didn't treat humans like animals. Actually, they did it just that he didn't know about it yet. He suppressed his seething anger and quickly goes to the upper floor. Here were fewer rooms than on the first floor, but these rooms were without any doors, and inside were young boys. But their condition was worse than death. They were wounded all over their bodies. Some didn't even have limbs. These boys were sparing partners for young masters of the Grant family. They have only one job, and that is to get beaten. They were like living dummies that helps Grant family younger generation to test their skills. If they die during sparing, no one will care. They will be replaced by new ones. There were insignificant stones to sharpen the younger generation of Grant's family. Ace was here to become a sparing partner. Grant family, servant building on the second floor. Ace saw those seriously injured and lifeless boys not much older than him. He felt intense ferocity in his heart and really wanted to get justice for them, but alas, he wasn't strong enough. This was the true face of the cultivation world where strength is supreme. Ace swallows the rage and moves forward deep into the second floor. All these doorless rooms were occupied by at least two boys. When they saw Ace with their lifeless eyes, they didn't react at all, because almost every day new sparring partner will be delivered. So they didn't think about Ace much. He was just another unfortunate one. Grant family captures these boys from wastelands. Wastelands were the lowest level lands of the entire human continent. Therefore, no one cares if the Grant family treats those wastelandians like slaves. These young boys were personally selected by elders of the family, and if they find something was not right with their identity, they would kill them without any second thought. But in all these peaceful years, they become lazy, and their selection became less meticulously. Because of it, Ace infiltrates this servant building and becomes a sparing partner. He finds an empty room and sits in a corner. He closes his eyes and begins to ponder over the dual shadow swords technique. He has 2 years to complete the system mission, and in the meantime, he needs to get stronger. He has to reach higher levels in his skills and techniques. Especially in dual shadow swords, it was the hardest to master. The stealth and silent steps were only stepped away from perfection since they were his most important skills. He also needs to level up the true and false eyes. Without this mysterious eye skill, he can't locate the hidden traps or erase. And of course, he didn't forget about the final 2 forms of treasure opening hands. Without it, he wasn't a true thief. But in his grand scheme, this time the most important skill was pickpocket. When Ace thought of pickpocket, he couldn't help but grin mysteriously. In the evening, Ace opened his closed eyes because he heard footsteps of 3 men approaching. After 5 minutes, 3 men come outside Ace's room, and one of them exclaimed, Why is there still a person without any injuries here? Ace heard this startling voice and finally saw 3 armored men. They were clearly guards of this servant building who were goofing off when Ace entered the building. Hey, little shit was you hiding last time when we were selecting sparing partners? The second one condemns sinisterly. His name was Aklam. He was lucky last time to escape our hand, but this time he can't escape. He laughed the third one evilly. His name was Lumen. Little rat, since you're perfectly fine, you can be sparring partner of third young miss today. And you have quite a good face, so she will definitely treat you well. The who exclaimed first snickers darkly. He was Jullo, taken with others. Let's see if he can live to see tomorrow after getting third miscarriage. Order Jullo to Aklam behind him. Like a little shit. Aklam comes to Ace and was going to grab him forcefully, but Ace stands on his own and starts to walk toward the other 2 guards nonchalantly. Oh, aren't we full of energy? Let's see if you can still even stand after practicing with third young Mississippi. Jullo smirked at Ace and starts to select others, sparing partners, and didn't pay Ace any more attention. After selecting 10 boys, with Ace being one of them. Except for Ace, all of them were wounded and has scars on their faces. One of them was shivering visibly while another one was crying his eyes out. Only 10. A dissatisfied voice sounded from outside of the building. Head Butler, these 10 were the only bunch left who can even walk properly. Look, we event find a fresh piece for third young miss to play with. Answered Jullo respectfully as he pointed his finger towards Ace, who seemed impassive. His previous domineering face was replaced with a courteous one. This person standing outside the servant building has a small and chubby stature. He was a middle-aged man with a short black beard. His name was Kylon Grant, and he was the head butler of Grant Family East District. Grant's family territory was quite big, and it was impossible to monitor all of the territories of the family with little manpower. So the whole Grant family territory was divided into 4 districts: East, West, South, North District. Each district has 1 protector at peak of Chi Gates, realm, and 1 head butler. In the center of all 4 districts was the main mansion of the Grant family. In the main mansion lives family head and his family. These 4 family districts were divided between the elders of the family. Head butler Kylon was here to find new sparring partners for East District young masters. But all of the other sparring partners were gravely injured, because those youngsters didn't hold back at all. If they were in good mood, they would at least spare their life. But if they were in bad mood, these Wastelandians boys would be beaten to death just to vent their anger. New batch isn't here yet. Asked Head Butler Kylon with clear frustration on his chubby face. Jullo politely answered, "Not yet, Head Butler, but I assure you that it will arrive tomorrow morning." "Fine, I'll come tomorrow then." Head Butler Kylon sighs helplessly. "Yes, we will specially select good ones for you, Head Butler." Acklam thumps his chest while giving grantee to the head butler. Kylon nodded his head in satisfaction and turned toward 10 dummies and said, "You 9 will be delivered to others young masters while you, in perfect condition, will follow me." Kylon takes Ace, and the other 9 were taken away by other servants who come with him towards the East District of the Grant family. Ace was scanning the surroundings curiously while walking with Butler Kylon. East District was the biggest district of the Grant family, and people who live here all held a very high position in the Grant family. After walking for 5 minutes, Ace spotted a beautiful large house. He saw a beautiful garden with colorful flowers outside. Ace was observing the flowers when an angry yet soft voice sounded. "Kylon, where's my sparring partner? Boy, it seems your luck is not very good. It seems 3rd young lady Gracie is angry for some reason." Kylon sniggers darkly while he looked at Ace as if he was a dead man. As Kylon was talking to Ace, the house closed door blast opened and a little girl about 5 feet tall with a slender figure come out. She was Gracie Grant, 3rd Miss of Grant's family. She held quite a power in Grant's family because she was the niece of Ryland Grant. She has a remarkably willful personality. When Kylon saw Gracie was storming towards him with a long face, he quickly grabs Ace's hand and moved him in front of himself and quickly said, "Young miss, look, this is the sparring partner I bought for you today. And he isn't injured at all. He also has quite a face." Gracie heard Kylon's words and finally shifts her gaze towards Ace. Even she was stunned for a moment after seeing his handsome face, especially those shining dark blue eyes that gave him an unknown charm. With pale skin and long inky hair, Ace looks like some young prince. Gracie has to admit, maybe he's the most handsome boy she ever saw. She quickly hides her surprised expression and acts like she didn't move by this sparring partner at all. However, from Ace's soul sense, how could she escape? He immediately notices a change in her mood. "Oomph, what can I do with this little white sheep? He can't even withstand a single strike from me." Gracie snorted and acted like she was still in bad mood. Kylon didn't have Ace's soul sense as cold sweat begins to form on his forehead and quickly said in a panicked tone, "Why, young miss, don't look at his face. He is after all from wildness, and his body has to be strong if he wants to survive in wastelands." He was afraid that she would want him to become her sparring partner today and hurriedly begin to explain about Wastelandians. It was true that if someone wants to survive in wastelands, one has to become a hunter. One could not live in wastelands comfortably like people in the city. They have to hunt for food and fight with those wild, demonic beasts to live. That's why they have naturally strong bodies. If not for the poor quality of chi in wastelands and other strange reasons, these Wastelandians would have ruled the lands of cities long ago. Just because of it, they didn't have any strong experts, and these strong families captured their youngsters wantonly. Some used them to become stepping stones for their young generation, like the Grant family, and others used them as high-quality slaves. It was also a mystery why the Wastelandians never had. Gracie snorted as she rolls her eyes at head butler. "Humph. We'll see about that after I try. Since you bought him here already, I'll forgive you for being late." Now go and don't disturb me. I've learned some new skills that I want to practice. She enters her house after giving Kylon an unfriendly glance. Kylon pretends to not see anything and quickly warns Ace, "You have to follow young Miss every order if you want to live. Don't displease her in any way, now go." Ace ignores Kylon's warning and follows Gracie with his head down. However, they both didn't notice an astute glint flash past his eyes. "I didn't think this Gracie would deliver herself to me this early and so easily," he thought gloatingly. Gracie saw Ace following her attentively and couldn't help but nodded in satisfaction after seeing this respectful lad. Because most of the Wastelandians would stare at her with hatred and resentment when they first come here. A slave should behave just like this." She mutters loudly to aggravate Ace, but he only grins coldly. She opened a door, and Ace saw a big open space in the back of her house. There were sharp swords marks on the ground, and rows of weapons were arranged on the side. It was clearly her personal training ground. Gracie said indifferently, "Quickly, don't waste my time, and pick any weapon and attack me with everything you have." Ace didn't move and meekly said, "May I speak few words with Third Lady first?" Gracie frowns as she knitted her brows after hearing Ace's request, but didn't attack him immediately. She only smiles darkly and said, "Speak, but if I don't like what you said, I will cut your tongue so you can't speak anymore." Ace pretends as if he didn't see her dark smile and said respectfully, "Young miss, here's a thing. Ever since I was little, I can use a special skill." When Gracie heard Ace's words, her eyebrow raised a little. She didn't think this barbarian of wastelands can use a special skill. Moreover, she didn't feel any strong chi in Ace's body. He was clearly immortal, so how could he use a skill? Gracie can't feel Ace's cultivation base because of heavenly chi. Only someone with two major cultivation realms higher than Ace can feel his true cultivation base. Others would only think of him as a normal mortal. That was also the reason why Ace was not worried about others finding out about his status as a cultivator, because someone with two whole realms higher than Ace can't be founded in Two-Star City or even in One-Star City easily. Of course, he finds out about this after paying thief points to the system while gritting his teeth when he was anxious about this fact. Furthermore, it's not like mortals can't learn or use the skills. It's just that these kinds of characters were extremely rare, and all of them were geniuses among geniuses. Could it be this barbarian is a genius? Gracie promptly shook her head. How could someone from Wasteland be a genius? Maybe he was just lucky. This was the only explanation. However, Gracie was still hooked and said playfully, "A special skill, you say? Fine, show me, and if it isn't something special, you know what's going to befall on you." Ace hurriedly shook his head, as if he was panicked. "Young miss, I didn't dare to use it on you, and only need some other person to show it to you." Ace was showing fear towards Gracie, and also probing her character to see if he could really move forwards in the next step of his plan with her or not. Gracie lost her patience and rebuked angrily. "Now use it already. It doesn't matter if it's me or someone else, because if I didn't like what I see, you are dead." Ace quivered a little, acting like he was afraid, and hurriedly closed his eyes and began to use pickpocket. The moment the skill is active, a formless thread shot from his finger straight towards Gracie's waist like an arrow. Gracie didn't seem to notice that formless thread and stand still in her place waiting for Ace to use his skill. When the formless thread touches her waist, it suddenly disappeared, and in Ace's hand appears a small yellow pouch. Ace knew this would happen, so he wasn't shocked by this, but what happens next thoroughly shocks him when heard a sweet voice in his mind that he didn't hear for quite some time. Pickpocket succeed. Host steal 2 trash-grade pills and 100 ruby coin. Ace was flabbergasted by this unexpected system announcement. "You're telling me if I can pick someone's pocket, I get TP as a reward?" He shouts in his mind dumbfoundedly because he didn't know he can earn TP with this skill. Ace was just acting according to his plan and didn't know that pickpocket has this kind of use. This skill was his weakest because he didn't practice it much. However, recently he has found out that this skill was not a normal skill at all, because this skill can be used with the soul chi as well. Actually, it works more perfectly with heavenly soul chi than heavenly chi, because he didn't have to be close to the target and can use this skill from afar. Just like now, he has to active pickpocket with his soul chi, and the moment his soul chi touches the target, it instantly takes the target's most important belongings and sends them to Ace's hand directly. The most astonishing thing was the target can't notice it at all. Ace found this peculiar side of this skill when he was getting used to his heavenly sense. He discovered he can use the pickpocket within his heavenly sense range by using soul chi. He was very happy at that time, but he didn't imagine that this skill can help him collect TP. Ace calms his excited heart because he was in front of Gracie and didn't want her to find something was wrong with his acting. When Gracie saw the little yellow pouch appear in Ace's hand, her eyes went wide and nearly pop out of her eye sockets with shock. She subconsciously touches her waist and bewitches because she didn't find her yellow money pouch, because it was already in Ace's hand. Before she could recover from her shock, Ace quickly spoke first. "My lady, this one apologized for his offense, but the young lady was the one who gives her command, so this lowly one can't disobey her. I hope young miss can show some grace and forgive this small person offense." Ace bows lightly and politely give her yellow pouch back to her. He was shivering a little as if he was afraid she would kill him, so he was begging for mercy first. Gracie finally snapped out of her trance and quickly took her yellow pouch from Ace's hand and stared angrily at him. You dare to steal from me, and now you dare to beg for forgiveness? Tell me how you do it, and teach me that skill, then I'll think about not punishing you." She wasn't angry at all. On the contrary, she was very excited. "If I learn this kind of skill, with it, I can steal from others without them knowing anything." These were her actual thoughts. Ace was expecting this, so he quickly answered with a panicked face, "Why, young lady, it is not that I don't want to teach you. It's just that I can't teach you, or anyone at that. This is a skill that I learn unknowingly, even I don't know how I can do it. This skill came to me when I was 5 years old." Gracie's face fell, and angry surfaced on it after she heard Ace reply. "Then why did you show it to me if you can't teach it to me? Do you want to steal from me?" She grips her sword's hilt more strongly. If Ace didn't tell her a reasonable answer, she would attack him without holding back. Ace told her his original motive with a horrified, sickened face. "Young miss, I didn't want to steal from you. I showed it to you because I'm not good at fighting, and after I came here, I saw all those other brothers from Wasteland Conditions. I was afraid of death, so I thought that if I showed enough value, I can be spared from this fighting and live a little easy life from all those brothers in that building." He shook his head vigorously as he explains his real purpose. As expected, Gracie seems to calm down a bit after she heard Ace's explanation because it was extremely reasonable. If he wants to live, then he has to show his worth. Gracie also didn't suspect any lie in Ace's answer either, because she herself has already killed more than 10 Wastelandians. Gracie finally calms down and said in a deep voice, "Then what you mean is, you can steal from others and give those things to me. In return, you want better treatment from those other slaves? Do you think you are in a position to negotiate with me? Who said I give my stolen thing to young miss? If I got caught, no one knows where their stolen things are, right? And no one knows I can speak, did they, young miss?" He respectfully smiled at Gracie after he said those meaningful yet meaningless words. Gracie was astounded by Ace's cunningness. Is he saying he will be mute in other people's eyes and give all those stolen things to me, and no one knows? But if he betrays me and spills the beans, I will be in huge trouble. So how can I trust him? She mused. Ace quickly spoke as if he read her mind. "Young miss, you can plant one of those slave marks on me." Once again, Gracie was startled by Ace's decisiveness. Listening to Ace's words, Gracie deeply looked into his eyes and asked meaningfully, "Do you even know what slave mark is?" Ace pondered for a while before answering considerately, "Yes. I heard little about it in the Wastelands. I only know branding with a slave mark means surrendering your free will and forever stay loyal to the person who holds the slave contract. I also personally saw a mysterious red color mark on the people's forehead on the first floor. I should be the slave mark, right?" Ace actually didn't know all this. It was all the information Eva gave him before coming here. Branded with the slave mark was also a part of their plan, and this kind of trashy slave marks will not work on him because of his soul cultivation. That's why he said without any hesitation, and it was the easiest way to win Gracie's trust. Gracie didn't surprised by the fact that Ace already knows about the slave mark, but what was she really surprised about was Ace's will to live. In her eyes, this guy was actually showed her his secret skill and even wanted to brand it by slave mark, just so he could live. This really fascinates her and made her look at this barbarian in a new light. Fine, I'll allow you to be my personal servant and let you live better than any one of those in that shitty building. But you have to prove yourself first. Gracie mysteriously smiled and continued, I'll be attending a family meeting in a month if you can steal all those participants' money pouches without anyone finding out. Then you can be my personal servant, and I will even reward you. What do you think? Gracie smiled sweetly at Ace, as if she was looking at a sheep who was about to get slaughtered. She concealed the most important part of the information from him. This wasn't just any random meeting. It was the meeting of Grant family's younger generation, and it was quite a big event. To test Ace's special skill limit and see if he really can steal from all those contestants without alerting them, Gracie didn't tell him the whole truth. Furthermore, if he failed, she'll kill him swiftly so no one can investigate this matter. But if he succeeds, she will make a huge profit without even lifting a finger. Besides, if everything goes smoothly, then she'll just pretend to be a victim like everyone else, and no one will ever know that she was the mastermind behind the thievery. Most importantly, she'd gain a master thief as a slave. I'll act according to young misarrangements. But this humble servant has a personal request. Ace requests politely. He wasn't surprised by this test at all. He knew from the start. Winning the trust of this arrogant third miss of the Grant family would not be a walk in the park. Gracie knitted her brows tightly after hearing Ace. But she didn't rebuke and asked coldly, Tell me if this request is reasonable. I think about it. I just need a space for training my skill because I never used it on multiple people before, and most importantly, I'm not a cultivator. Ace's tone becomes even more respectful. I also don't want to fail young Miss Mission. That's why I need to train hard, so I can serve with my full potential in a month. Gracie mulled over it for a while before speaking. It seems you don't want to go back to that shitty building. So be it. You can live here in the open and practice all you want. She smiles darkly. However, you're not allowed in my house, or if you even take even half a step outside my training ground, you're dead. After warning Ace, she turns around and walks back to her house, leaving him behind. Since Gracie makes a great deal with Ace, she was in no mood of training anymore and decided to play outside because she was in a very good mood. As Ace watched Gracie leave him alone, the second phase of the plan is complete this easily, and it is sooner than we anticipated. He thought joyously. In Ace and Eva's scheme, Gracie was very important. Their plan was, Ace would be a punching bag for quite some time, and after showing his unnatural abilities to endure the beating, he will be given to a stronger young miss or master to be their sparring partner. Eventually, Ace would meet his main goal, and that was Gracie Grant. Eva selected her because she was extremely willful and never listened to others except for her father, and even her mother can't control her. Moreover, she was extremely greedy and would take whatever she likes from others. She bullies others no matter who they were. If Gracie encountered someone strong, she would use her status or father status. But even with all these powers backing her, she can't take or act wantonly in front of two persons, and they were both first and second young masters of Grant's family. Ace and Eva decided to use her greed to manipulate her actions. Ace would show her his unnatural pickpocket skill, and she would not be able to resist the temptation of stealing the precious things from others, especially from the second-rank young master, who she hated the most but can't deal with. However, this plan was supposed to take some time to set in motion, but who would have thought on the very first day Ace meets his target? Therefore, he strikes immediately and baits Gracie with the pickpocket skill. Except for that 1-month test part, Ace's plan succeeds in the end, and that's what matters the most. Now, he just has to train the pickpocket to a higher level to pass Gracie's test. Furthermore, after discovering the pickpocket would give him thief points, Ace was really going to practice it seriously. Unknowingly, this skill has become his main priority, because to get things from the system, he needed TP, and only knows this one method to earn TP, excluding missions. Actually, it was very easy to earn TP, He just has to steal things and can earn thief points. But he never does that before, and when he used pickpocket to steal Gracie's money pouch, Ace finally realized what he has to do to earn TP. Furthermore, this skill was unexpectedly a soul skill. Soul techniques and soul skills were rarest in Golden Sky World. Even Devil Race, that possessed the most complete heritage of cultivation in this world, didn't have many soul cultivators. Ace used Heavenly Sense and saw Gracie leaving the house, but didn't go inside, because she might have left some trap or order someone to watch him. Since his soul senses were not strong enough, he can't scan the whole house. Ace didn't care about Gracie anymore and placed those weapons 10 meters away from him and starts using pickpocket. Just like what happened to Gracie the moment his soul chi thread touched a weapon, it vanished and reappeared in his hand. It was as if space is being manipulated by this skill, but Ace didn't understand it too well yet, so he keeps practicing it like a madman. Underscore, 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 underscore. Gracie comes back at night. She enters the house and snugly sits in a chair before saying carelessly, "How was he?" There was no one around, but suddenly a man appears from the training ground. He didn't open the door and directly passes through it, as if he was incorporeal. He gets on his knee and answers respectfully, "Young lady, that brat only practice all this afternoon and evening." After some rest, he starts practicing again and was still practicing like a madman just an hour ago. I think he used all his chi. Not bad, not bad. It seems he is serious about what he said and didn't lie to me. Go and give him beast meat and a blanket as a reward. Keep an eye on him. He'll be living in the training ground for a month, and if he succeeds in his task, you will get a new subordinate to play with Yahir. Gracie said coolly. Yahir was Gracie's personal bodyguard that was personally assigned by her father. He is at the 4th gate of Chi Gates realm. If Ace were to move around carelessly, he would have been attacked by Yahir instantly. But Ace just does his training diligently and was seen by Yahir as a hard worker. That is why Yahir has a good impression of Ace now. Yahir emotionlessly said, "Yes, young lady, I will follow your will." Ace was laying on the ground panting like crazy. He gave his all today and still didn't understand pickpocket enough to raise its level. But he feels that he can do it within a month. Nonetheless, he was feeling hungry but wasn't worried about it too much. After all, if Gracie was as greedy as Eva described her be, she would not let anything happen to Ace until she finds out if he was usable or not. Just as he was thinking about food, a fragrant smell entered his nostrils. He quickly looked around and saw a man wearing blue clothes was coming towards him with a tray in his hand. It was an old man in his 50s with gray long hair and a wrinkled face. He was Yahir, Grace's personal bodyguard. When Yahir saw Ace was looking at him, he smiles kindly like a senior who was going to meet his junior for the first time. Yahir placed the tray on the ground and said while smiling warmly, "You worked hard today for my lady, and here is your reward. If you keep working like this, she will no mistreat you. But if you betray her trust or make a mistake, then I'll be the first one to come after your head." When Yahir said that, his eyes turn icy cold as he emits a thick killing intent. Ace shivers when he feels Yahir killing intent. Just how many people did this old man has killed? He was shocked and afraid by this old man. Still, he nodded his head stiffly, and that killing intent vanished like it never existed before, and Ace finally could breathe. Yahir smiled again after seeing Ace nodded and leaves the tray there before leaving. Clearly, he was only here to give Ace a warning, nothing else. Ace begins to live in Gracie's training group from that day on. However, it causes a huge commotion in the Grant family. Like, head butler Kylon was quite appalled by this sudden turn of events because he didn't expect Gracie would take a liking to this barbarian, and she even let him live in her house. Everyone was astounded by this news because they know Gracie's personality very well, and she would never do things that didn't give her any interest. Consequently, everyone starts to investigate this barbarian that Gracie accepted. They couldn't find anything about him, though. Those elders who were supposed to keep watch over wasteland slaves didn't know anything about Ace, because those elders had become too lazy after a long period of peace in the family. Only Now, did this new development transpires after Gracie showed liking toward a wasteland boy, and they have to give a complete report on him to higher-ups. But they can't find anything on him after they search their half-done records. Nevertheless, this notion didn't even cross their minds that someone would be daring enough to infiltrate Grant family with this kind of method. The most agitate amidst the Grant family higher-ups was, of course, Caden Grant, Gracie's father. Caden took this matter truly seriously because he doted on Gracie the most and was worried about her safety. Yet, when he finds out there was no information at all on that punk, he blew his top and punishes those indolent elders with ferocity. After discovering that there was no information on that punk, Caden summoned Gracie and ordered her to kick Ace out of her house because he was suspicious. But Gracie didn't listen to him at all and protest by saying, "I'm going to brand that barbarian with a slave mark after he passes my test in a month." She assured him with, Yahir, keeping an eye on Ace all time. After seeing Gracie's confidence, Caden could only sigh helplessly. I spoiled her too much. Well, what can a mortal slave do? Maybe I'm acting too overprotective here. His eyes were filled with fatherly love when he looked at Gracie's pouting face. In the end, Caden didn't object anymore and approve of her request to keep Ace as a servant. But he was extremely puzzled by the fact. Why did she want that barbarian as a personal servant? Whenever he asked the reason, she just smiled mysteriously. Eventually, he gave up completely. Now he can't investigate Ace personally, right? Since it was beneath him with his noble status. Ace didn't know. Gracie accepting him in her house has caused so much turmoil. He was solely concentrating on pickpocket right now. Even if Ace knew about it, he wouldn't care at all. Because Eva assured him again and again. When the family investigates him, Gracie would definitely protect him and won't open her mouth. Because of selfishness and the perks that he would bring her. As Ace practices this skill, he finds out it was easy to understand with his formless wind core. This was also the advantage of a soul cultivator. They can practice soul skills with ease. And Ace was a heavenly soul cultivator at that. 1 month passed in a flash. Today was the day of the Grant family younger generation meeting. Every 2 years, this competition originate among East, West, South, and North District youngsters between the age of 12 to 18. This competition determined the ranking of the Grant family's youngsters by measuring their cultivation basis. The top 10 would get many benefits and resources from the family. The person within 3rd to 10th rank can gain the best resources of the family and gets 10 half-white grade chi pills every month that can help cultivate faster. 1st and 2nd ranks would also gain all benefits, but the most precious prize for them was they can learn the only low-level chi mortal grade skill that the Grant family possessed. It was extremely precious and the biggest secret of the Grant family. Only the top 2 can learn the skill, and only for 2 days. If they can gain something from it, that's their luck, and if not, that's also their bad luck. Because to memorize low-level mortal grade skill, one has to be at Chi Gates Realm Peak. Skills are divided into normal, mortal, warrior, master, and mysterious. Grades. All the grades are further divided into low, middle, high, and absolute levels. As for skills above mysterious grades, they were all in the hands of ancient sects. A 2-star city, like the Riverflower City, only has 2 low-level mortal grade skills, and one of them was in the City Lord Mansion, while the second one was in the hands of Grant's family head, Ryland Grant. Normal grade skills can be considered common because they can be found even in 3-star cities. However, warrior grade skills were all monopolized by kingdoms. If they even get the news that skill of warrior level was in the hand of a lowly city, that would be considered treason, and that city, as well as every single living being in it, will be erased from existence. That's why these youngsters of Grant's family yearn for this low-level mortal grade skill day and night. Even those elders didn't have permission to touch it and always wanted to learn it, but Ryland won't let them. He only gave authorization to those who showed value to the family. Moreover, no one even knows the name of the skill. It was the top secret of the Grant family. Ace was currently walking behind Gracie, ceremoniously looking like a loyal servant. He was holding a long bag in his hand, and in it were 2 beautiful long swords. Gracie was walking towards the meeting venue. Actually, she didn't need Ace to carry her swords, but Ace insists on it because he needed this bag to put all those stolen goods. When Gracie hears this reason, she quickly agrees to it and gives Ace a long string bag. She even picked another sword just because that bag was looking too empty with only one sword. Ace was happy about it. Now no one will suspect anything. After some time, Ace saw a big open field coming into his view that bursting with activity. It was the venue for Grant family younger generation meeting. The Grant family was after all the second-ranked family of the inner region, so this competition brought together many different powers. These important characters had come here to watch the competition between juniors of the Grant family. The competitive spirit amongst the junior members of the family was at a boiling point from the excitement. After seeing all these people came here to watch their grand performance. The meeting was held in a wide field in the evening. Several guests were bustling about. Some of the family heads from various other families came because of Grant's family fame and power. But no one came from the city lord's family due to the complicated relationship between them. In the wide field of the Grant family, numerous members from the junior generations of various inner region families have been gathered. Although these bouts between them were going to be grand and intense, everyone's focus was currently on a grand stage that was set in the city. Gracie turned around before she enters the venue and whispered to Ace, "You only have to steal from participants of the competition. Don't alert those high-level guests, especially the family head and elders. If they find out about it, you will die before you know it." She didn't wait for Ace's answer and enter the venue. Ace's complexion was dreary. He didn't think this little test of Gracie would be in this kind of exploding spot and felt he's been duped by this shorty. This going to troublesome, Ace deemed gloomily. After entering the venue, Ace saw a big grand stage in the center, and on the center of the stage was a pillar on it placed a white crystal ball. That crystal ball was the size of an adult human head. Around the grand stage were posh seats, and only old-looking and some middle-aged men were sitting in them. They all were wearing luxurious clothes and drinking some kind of wine while chatting with each other casually. He could tell that they were all important figures just by the high chi fluctuations around them. Gracie directly goes towards the juniors area of her family. There were only 10 seats there, and everyone was standing behind them. When those youngsters saw Gracie, they instantly shut their traps because they were quite afraid of annoying this little devil. Gracie scorned after seeing everyone's vigilant gaze and sit in the third seat from the right. Besides, there were 2 seats where 2 young men were sitting. The one who sits in the first seat with an expressionless yet handsome face was Felix Grant, and the one who sits beside Felix was Reuben Grant, who has an ordinary face with a dusky complexion. Felix was ranked number 1 in the previous meetings and also the Grant family's best talent of this generation. More importantly, he was the youngest son of Ryland Grant. On the other hand, Reuben was ranked 2nd in the previous meeting and Gracie was 3rd. Gracie detests Reuben because he always teased her as number 3 sister whenever he saw her. Therefore, she avoids him most of the time. Furthermore, she can't do anything about it because he has excellent talent in cultivation and he was favored by family head and also Felix's good friend. Even her father was helpless against him. This year Gracie has turned 18 and this is her last competition. Consequently, she was determined to beat Reuben this time around. The same goes for Felix and Reuben. These 3 always competing with each other's, but Felix never let any one of them overtake him in these years. Gracie was about to greet Felix when she hears a huge commotion from the crowd and turn around to see what happened. Reuben, who was also going to tease Gracie, becomes serious. A 1.8-meter tall middle-aged man with dark brown long hair and a fine face enters the venue haughtily. He was wearing luxurious silk robes with beautiful golden embroidery. He nonchalantly walks toward the stage and sat in the most eye-catching seat in the center. He didn't even bother to greet anyone and sits in the golden chair while closing his eyes. Yet, no one dares to show any displeasure or angry expressions. They were even smiling broadly after seeing that man's arrogance, because he was the current head of Grant family, Ryland Grant. Beside Ryland was a man who was not as tall as him, but wasn't short either. His face resembles Ryland's greatly and sat on the seat right next to Ryland's. He was Gracie's father and Ryland's younger brother, Caden Grant. Rylan swiftly gestures with his hand while his eyes were still closed. It was a signal. Everyone understands what that gesture means. Recognizing Rylan's signal, no one dares to make a sound anymore. In this taciturnity, an old man in his 60s walking towards the center of the stage came into everyone's view. He was an elder of the Grant family, Ezekiel Grant. Ezekiel has a mild smile on his old face while greeting everyone in the venue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Grant family meeting of the younger generation. Let's start the evaluation process right away. He didn't dare to spout useless nonsense and directly start the meeting because Rylan didn't like wasting time. Rylan seldomly shows his face because he was always focusing on cultivation and wanted to reach the Chi Foundation building realm as quickly as possible. Most of the time, these kinds of matters were handled by Caden. But this time, it was his youngest son, Felix's last meeting, therefore he attended this event. That's also why so many important characters came this time, to show their loyalty and support. It was all because Rylan was the second strongest man after the City Lord in the River Flower City. Once he break through into the next realm, he would be in existence at the same level as the City Lord. Many families who can't curry favor with the Layton family came here to jump on Grant family ship while Rylan was still weak. Ezekiel addressed loudly. Let me explain the rules to everyone quickly. First, only the youngsters at the age of 18 and below can participate in the competition. Second, every junior will get only signal chance to evaluate by this white cultivation measuring crystal. As he said, he pointed towards the white crystal beside him. This white cultivation measuring crystal can measure cultivation below Chi Foundation building realm. Third, after the evaluation, the top 3 to 10 ranked participants can challenge first and second ranked, but only single times. If anyone can beat participants in the first or second rank, they can take their places and loser can't challenge the winner. He declared distinctly. There is a total of 42 participants in this meeting. We will start from the youngest of these 42 participants. Ezekiel announced as he shifts his focus towards participants. A little boy who seems to be 12 years old starts to walk towards the stage nervously under everyone's curious gazes. He was clearly the youngest of them all. This little boy moved towards the white cultivation measuring crystal tensely. This was his first meeting. Ezekiel said in a soothing tone, after seeing the boy's nervousness, "Boy, don't worry. Just place your hands on the measuring crystal and pour your chi in it. After we'll see what your cultivation level is. Now go." That little boy took a deep breath and placed his hands on the crystal and pour his chi. The next moment, something magical happened. The white transparent crystal suddenly starts to shine brightly, and a single little gate begins to form. That gate was light yellow in color. First gate of the Chi Gates realm low. Ezekiel announced while nodded in satisfaction. Ezekiel calls with a smile. Next. This cultivation measuring crystal can change in a 5 different colors gate that symbolizes Chi Gates realm 5 self gates. The yellow color for first gate, orange for second gate, green for third gate, brown for fourth gate, and golden for fifth gate. As for low, middle, and high, that depends on the color depth. The brighter your realm gate is, the higher your final evaluation. Since the measuring crystal just showed a light yellow gate, it meant this body just recently opened the first gate. If he was close to breakthrough or at the peak of first gate, the color that crystal shows would be the brightest yellow. The little boy smiled with pride. After all, he was only 12 and already a cultivator. He was not here for the prize and only here to show off his talent. Ace saw all of it and was quite fascinated by that white crystal. He didn't think one can measure cultivation just like that as well. Now, he really wanted to go to the stage and test his own heavenly cultivation. He wanted to see if that thing can measure heavenly chi or not. One has to know after all his efforts. Ace was now at the peak of the first gate of heavenly gates. He just needs some experience and insight to open the second gate. Ace wasn't amused by that toy anymore and was ready to begin his work after watching the next participant was heading towards the stage. When everyone's attention was focused on that participant, Ace closed his eyes. Swiftly, formless fine threads of soul chi begin to eject from each finger of his right hand. These threads were dancing around his finger like puppet strings. He manipulates these strings with soul chi, and like arrows, these 5 strings shot towards the standing participants beside the stage. No one can see or sense these threads if they aren't soul cultivators, or their martial cultivation base is higher than Ace by 2 whole realms. Ace called these fine threads soul threads. Soul threads were formed by his formless wind soul core. Of course, he got this brilliant idea from the pickpocket skill, since the pickpocket skill can form one chi thread and move it with chi as well. Ace tries to form these threads with soul chi, and he succeeds effortlessly. It was like these threads were just mere random tricks that he can perform with the Heaven Stealer technique anytime. Ace was awed by the Heaven Stealer technique that the system gives him. It was like he can do anything with it as long as he can imagine it. All the soul threads wrapped around 5 contestants' waists. Ace instantly activate the mid-level pickpocket skill that he practiced all this month. Pickpocket's instantly active, but this time it didn't form any new thread and was directly engaged on those already formed soul threads. Just like that, the soul threads vanished, and Ace felt the bag in his hand become a little bit heavy. He grins widely. It's too damn easy this way. He was happy since he robbed 5 people at the same time, without any quandary, and no one even notices him. After his first completion, Ace became like some professional thief, and whenever a new participant moves towards the stage, he would take advantage of these disturbances and steal. After 2 hours, every participant except Gracie, Felix, and Ruben were done with their cultivation measuring test. Ace was a little listless since soul threads take quite a toll on his soul and mind, although his eyes were shining brightly as he was looking at the system's black panel. Equals. Pickpocket succeed. Host steal 62 trash grade pills, half white grade, and 12,184 ruby coins. Rewards 12 thief points, TP. Thief points, TP 52. Ace spends 2 hours stealing all these, and now only Felix and Ruben were left. He was a little perplexed and didn't use a skill on them. The reason was he was afraid they would notice something since they were closest to him. Number 3, sister, now it's yours turn. Ruben speaks for the first time with a tantalizing tone. Since Caden was here, he can't tease her too much. Humph. Gracie only grunted vexedly and moved towards the stage. She didn't even glance at him. Ezekiel didn't dare to treat Gracie like all the other juniors and quickly escort her by himself. She has an extremely high status in Grant's family and, besides, a very bad reputation of being unruly. Young miss, please. Ezekiel gestured respectfully. All the audience went silent. They also know who this young girl was. Caden smiles gently after seeing Gracie appearing on the stage. She was his only child, and he was very fond of her. That's why he always spoiled her and didn't punish her for her blunders. Gracie didn't greet Ezekiel like others. She didn't even seem to notice him. She only looked towards her father and smiled sweetly. She suddenly turns around and smiles coldly towards Ruben. Ruben was startled, and a very bad feeling arose in his heart after seeing that stiff smile. Gracie slowly placed her hands on the crystal and poured her chi. The cultivation measuring crystal begins to glow, and a light orange gate was formed. Second gate of Chi Gate's realm, Lo. Congratulations, miss, on reaching the second gate at such a young age. Ezekiel announced loudly. This young miss of Grant's family really is a genius. The crowd also begins to exclaim in shock. Master, Caden, congratulations on having such a talented daughter. Those family heads sitting beside Caden started to congratulate him warm-heartedly. You all are too the kind. That little girl works hard on her own. I didn't do much. Caden smiled ear to ear as he replied. He straightened his chest with a face full of pride. Opening the second gate of muscle was very difficult if you didn't have a solid base. Some people will open the first gate early, but will be stuck at this point for years. If someone can open the second gate in 3 to 4 years after the first gate, that person considers a genius in the lands of cities. Ace saw all this commotion and reflected disdainfully. My little sis has already opened the first gate when she was only 7 years old, and I know for sure She has already breakthrough after her bloodline was awakened. These people here are all narrow-minded. Ace was thinking about his little sis when his soul sense that was locked on Reuben and Felix tingle. He instantly senses Reuben's emotions became somewhat unsettled and was looking for just this kind of opportunity. He quickly sent a soul thread towards Reuben's waist and used the pickpocket. Reuben didn't notice anything because his mind was messed right now for some reason. Equals 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 equals. Pickpocket succeed. Host steal 7 trash grade pills, half white grade, and 4,904 ruby coins. Rewards 2 thief points. Thief points TP 54. Equals 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 equals. Ace directly heard the system voice in his head. He didn't show his delight and stand in his position like a status. He was now only a single step away from completing Gracie's mission. Only Felix was effed, but Ace didn't want to do it because Felix was Rylan Grant's son. Furthermore, this Felix was too calm and very alert of his surroundings. He didn't show any opening. Ace was confident in stealing Felix's money pouch, but it would definitely alert Rylan and the Grant family in the future. And this would be quite troublesome for him. Since he has robbed all the participants, those elders would unquestionably investigate this unnatural event. But if he steals from a family head son, it was possible that Rylan would take action himself. That's why he determined to wait for Gracie to come back and asked her if he could spare Felix. Gracie walks back to her spot with her head high like some arrogant peacock. She sits nonchalantly beside Reuben and said meaningfully, "Former number 2, brother, it's your turn." Heh. When Reuben hears former, his face muscle twitch uncontrollably and a tremor runs through his body. Reuben didn't dare to tease Gracie, or he was not in the mood anymore, because he knows what was going to happen after seeing her result just now. He takes a deep breath and with a gloomy expression begins to walk on the stage. Ezekiel saw Reuben coming and was about to greet him like Gracie, but stopped in his tracks because he noticed Reuben's stiff mug and only said politely, "Young master, please." Reuben forcefully calmed his wavering emotions and placed his trembling hands on the crystal and poured the chi. The cultivation measuring crystal begins to change, and a brightest yellow color door is formed. Sigh. When Ezekiel saw this, he sucks a breath of cold air. Now, he understands why Reuben's face was like charcoal and didn't want to say it. But alas, he has to. First gate of Chi gates high. The crowd clamored after hears this, especially Grant's family juniors and elders alike. They exclaimed because this was the first time that ranking has changed from the start of the meeting. And the change was also happened in 2nd and 3rd position. Didn't they say Reuben was more talented than Gracie, why he was weaker than her? Asked someone in crowed in low voice. He was winning the 2nd rank for last 2 meetings, but it seems he hit a bottleneck in his cultivation this year. Answer someone knowledgeable. All the crowd was bursting with the same kind of discussion. On the stage, an elder was sitting behind the seats of Rylan and Caden. He was currently clenching the chair arms tightly. There were some cracks on them. It seems he was quite angry. He was Reuben's father and 3rd-ranked elder of the Grant family. Malak Grant. Malak's rank was only below Caden, and Reuben was his pride and joy. Since Reuben even manages to win Felix's friendship, and that's how Rylan's attention as well. Malak was quite satisfied with all his son's achievements. Malak's relationship with Caden was always sour. That's why he encourages his son to suppress Gracie and make cracks between Felix and Gracie's relationship. And Caden could do nothing to him openly because of Felix and Rylan. However, now Reuben has lost his 2nd position to Gracie. That's why Malak was in an extremely sullen mood because he always eyeing Caden's position, and now he has no choice but changes his plans. Malak was mulling when a sneering voice enters his ears from the front. "3rd elder, my condolence." It was obviously Caden, who was looking back at Malak with a wicked smile on his face. Malak long beard, quiver a litter, and nearly vomit blood in anger. This bastard, he cursed in his heart. Malak was after all an old fox, and forcibly controls his anger, and said with a forced yet ugly smile, "Master Caden, I'm very happy about little Gracie's performance, and she finally defeats that arrogant brat. This will teach him a lesson." Those other guests sitting around them didn't dare to say anything. They didn't want to offend either of them. Caden laughs heartily when he saw Malak's ugly face and didn't press the matter anymore. He knew this sly old fox and his ways very well. If Malak saw the situation as against him, he would even call a donkey his father just to get out of it. Gracie saw Reuben was coming back with an ashen face and felt her mood becoming quite good. How could it not be? This guy always teased her and didn't show her respect at all. Yet, this time she beat him fair and square. She had a lucky breakthrough this year. That's how she managed to open the second gate. Even if Reuben challenged her, she would defeat him with ease. She was a stage higher than him, after all. Number 3. Brother, will you challenge me? How could Gracie let this chance slip by to humiliate Reuben this easy? Everyone becomes silent after she asked Reuben, and their focus was shifted on Reuben. Even Felix, who didn't show any emotion, was looking at this scene with amusement. Reuben becomes pale as a ghost with all this attention on him. He really wanted to challenge Gracie, but before exiting the stage, he saw his father's special signal. Malak was clearly telling him to stand down. Malak knows that odds were not in his favor if Reuben challenged Gracie. He would lose even more miserably. That's why he signals Reuben to not challenge her. Ha. Reuben laughed dryly and said with a forced ugly smile, "How can I challenge little sister Gracie? Since we are family, we shouldn't fight with each other." He was grinding his teeth in anger. If not for his father, he would have challenged her already, so could only sit silently like a beaten dog. The crowd was very disappointed. They thought that it would be very amusing to watch the fight between two top juniors of Grant's family. But Reuben chickens out in the end. Gracie was also speechless by Reuben's shamelessness and wanted to beat him up, but it was not the place for it. Now that she was stronger than him, she would not let him live in peace and take her sweet time avenging the grievance of years. "Oh, thank you, number 3, brother." She ignored him again. Reuben becomes more enraged when he hears number 3. But alas, he can do nothing now, just like Gracie all those years ago. He knows his life was going to be miserable from now on. Ace curiously saw all this from behind Gracie. This was his first time seeing this kind of situation. Ace clearly saw how Reuben was behaving arrogantly in front of Gracie just a few moments ago when he thought he was stronger than her. But now, when Reuben discovered he can't beat her, he immediately begins behaving submissively. This is what it means to be strong and powerful. He thought and couldn't help but be awed by this cultivation world, and most importantly, human nature. Ezekiel only laments after seeing all this, and again speaks loudly. Now that we know young Master Reuben didn't want to challenge young Miss Gracie, we can move towards our final contestant of this meeting. He was just about to call Felix regally when he felt a powerful pressure. Ezekiel was alarmed and thought it was an enemy attack, but he simply can't move. However, the pressure vanished the next moment, and drenched with cold sweat, Ezekiel turned around when he saw Rylan has finally opened his eyes and looking at him expressionlessly. He quickly escapes the stage because he knew what Rylan was going to do. Everyone becomes puzzled when Ezekiel escaped like a mouse who just saw a cat. But the next moment, no one dares to speak because of Rylan standing up. When everyone saw this, those who were sitting immediately stand as well. No one wants to displease Rylan. Rylan didn't glance at anyone and slowly walk on the grand stage. Rylan's eyes suddenly locked in the participants area. He was expressionlessly looking at Felix. Felix saw Rylan's and smiled for the first time, seeing his father was looking at him. He knew his father would evaluate his children on their last competition by himself. This is how Rylan shows affection. "Come." Rylan's thunderous voice resounded in the venue. No one dares to make a sound because they knew Rylan was calling for Felix and didn't want to die by ruining this moment for father and son. Felix smiled broadly as he walks towards the stage. He was truly happy because his father didn't forget this was his last competition. His mother was dead and his big sister was already married. Even his elder brother, who he admires the most, has gone with his nephew somewhere. Everyone's focus was on Felix and Rylan except for one person, and that was Ace. The stage was only 10 meters away from the participants area, and Gracie was in the very front. And the moment Rylan walked in the center of the grand stage, he came into Ace's soul sense range. The moment it happened, the system voice buzzed in Ace's head, and a black panel appears. He was bewildered by it because Equals 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 equals. System detects a storage space treasure. Did you want to mark it by using 2 TP? Equals 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 equals. Ace was baffled by this and transmitted in mind confusingly. System, what is this storage space treasure? Even this name was unique to him. 1 TP required for the answer. Since he has earned quite some TP recently, he said without care, "Take it." His 54 TP become 53, and the system's voice sounded again. Storage space treasures are used for storing non-living things like weapons, currency, pills, and other treasures. Simply put, it is like having a secret space fused within a finger ring. You can store the whole mountain inside that little ring if you have large enough space. Some storage space treasures can also store living things inside them like humans, living beasts, living medicine herbs, and other things alike. It is like a portable treasury. To form a storing space inside a treasure, you need to be a rune crafters. The system only detected a ring of the lowest level. It is not even stable. It was clearly made by a novice rune crafter and will be destroyed after 50 years. Ace heard system explanations on these storage space treasures and become astounded. He didn't even imagine that there was something this legendary even exist in this world. If I can have this storage space treasure, didn't this means I don't have to carry this bag around, and I can also put these stolen goods and my weapons inside the ring. It is really like a portable treasury. But how can this kind of treasure appear here, and who has it? System marked that treasure. Ace really wanted this storage space treasure, because with it, he could do missions or thieveries with ease. As he transmitted his voice, the TP becomes 51. He saw a black little panel appearing on someone's hands. It was a blue ring on the finger of a man's left hand. But when Ace saw who the owner of this ring was, his complex turned ashen, because it was none other than Rylan Grant. Ace's complexion was gloomy after seeing Rylan wearing the blue storage ring. He really wanted that ring, but Ace's reasons force him to stay calm. All this communication with the system only takes a few seconds. Now, Ace begins to think with lightning speed when he abruptly remembered something and become pale just by thinking about it. He recalled Eva's words. When Rylan take this mask out of thin air, I was surprised by it. Ace didn't pay much attention to it at that time. He simply thinks it could be a secret skill or something like that. Particularly now, the story was totally different because he knew about the existence of the storage ring. If Eva was right and he took out that mask out of thin air, then didn't it mean what I'm looking for is also in that ring? Ace reflected and comes to a scary conclusion. He takes a deep breath and calms his pounding heart. If Ace's guess was right, then Rylan would most likely keep the most important things and treasures of the Grant family in that storage ring. And if he could steal that storage ring, that means his mission will be complete and he will be able to get out of here right now. Furthermore, he didn't need to go to the main mansion of the Grant family to search for their treasury either. Furthermore, what if he didn't find that thing in the treasury of the Grant family? At that time, he has to go after Rylan. And to find Rylan in his own house was not difficult, but he has to go through all types of security and traps. However, right now he was just standing right in front of him. Now, Ace was having an internal conflict and can't make his final choice. If I strike now, I can leave the Grant family. But if I can't find that thing in Rylan's space ring, Eva would be in trouble. And if I can't find that thing in the treasury either, I'm 90% sure that Rylan has that thing in that ring, because no one wants to put this kind of precious stuff in the treasury that someone else can open. Sighs. Ace sighed helplessly. Although the next moment, Ace's eyes begin to shine brightly and focus the soul sense solely on Rylan. He finally made a choice. If Ace noticed even the slightest bit of change in Rylan's soul wave, he would strike without any hesitation. Underscore. On the stage, Felix is already standing in front of white cultivation measuring crystal beside his father. Rylan said in a commanding tone, "Start." Felix didn't linger and put his hands on the crystal and pour the chi. The crystal begins to shine brightly, and a dim green color gate formed. Third gate of Chi Gate Realm. The mob exclaimed in astonishment because it was very difficult to find someone of Felix's age who opened the third gate in the lands of cities. Moreover, everyone knows that only Asher has reached the third stage of the Chi Gates realm at the age of 20 in the entire Riverflower City and is recognized as the top genius of the entire city. But now there was another one emerge, and he was even younger than Asher. The most crucial point was both of them were Ryland's son and grandson. Now, if Ryland reached the Chi Foundation building realm in near future, and with talents like Ryland and Ashen at the mix, Grant's family will definitely rise above the Layton family. Nephew, let's see if you can still act arrogant in front of me when you'll see me next time. Felix imagines while smiling after seeing everyone's reaction. His own nephew Asher always looks down on him because he was younger and weaker. Felix always wanted to suppress him and beat Asher into submission. Now he has shown more talent than his nephew and even surpassed him. Now even his father, who always praised his nephew, has to acknowledge him. Roland was really amazed by this sudden pleasant surprise. He didn't expect that his son has already surpassed his talented grandson, who he was very fond of. He felt gratified and blessed by heaven at this moment. A smile creeps out on his expressionless face for the first time as he thought 2 talents in a single generation. Heh, no one could stop the rise of my Grant family now. The way Ryland looked at Felix also changed, and his gaze becomes gentler. He gave Felix the same position as Asher in his heart. Good. You didn't disappoint me, your father, and proved that my Grant family is a den of geniuses. Everyone, I announce that this year's meeting is ended with my son Felix as the winner. Nevertheless, please stay because there's going to be a banquet tonight in celebration of my son's great achievement. Ryland announced with a rare smile on his face, and everyone starts to cheer. All the elders of the family smiled gleefully. They didn't delay either and quickly begin the preparation for the banquet. Caden saw his big brother in good mood and come to him with a thick smile on his face. Congratulations, big bro, you have 2 dragons now. Ha ha, you're too polite, Caden. Ryland laughs heartily hearing Caden's words. Ryland patted his shoulder happily with his left hand when his smile suddenly stopped because he saw his hand was lacking something. Yes, it was empty. His storage ring was gone. Caden saw his big brother's expression and a very bad feeling aroused within. But why? Before he could think any further, an intense pain stirs from his shoulder. Ah! All the cheering stopped with Caden's sudden, painful wailing. But before anyone could figure out what transpired, they heard Ryland's thunderous roar filled with killing intent. Juices hoo-hoo, dree. Unknowingly, Ryland has crushed Caden's shoulder bone and panicked. Even if he knows he didn't care at all, because his eyes were solidified on his index finger. There was supposed to be a blue ring with beautiful pattern there, but now it was gone and only a slight white mark of it left. His mind was in utter turmoil, and because of it he loses control of his endowment and released the full aura of Quasi-Chi Foundation building cultivation based. The pressure was so huge, one could felt even 100 meters away. Caden was in the eyes of the storm and almost lost his life. He couldn't take the pressure and used his cultivation of peak Chi Gates realm and shrill in pain. Brother, you! Ryland snapped out of it by Caden's piercing shriek and see his hand was drenched in Caden blood. He quickly loses his grip and Caden fell on stage with a painful groan. He was lucky that Ryland didn't use his chi or his shoulder might have been torn apart from his body. What happened? Caden quickly eats a healing pill, and after his pain decreases a bit, he asked with a worried expression on his pale face. He has never seen his brother lose his calm like this before, especially in public places. But now he was almost looking like a madman. He was a completely different person. It's gone, Ryland thinks with a hint of horror and panic in his bloodshot eyes. Yet he forces himself to calm down and controls his emotions, but he didn't lower the pressure of his cultivation base. Everyone on stage was shivering in fear. The whole venue was deathly silent. The atmosphere becomes chilly with Ryland killing intent at its peak. No one knows what happened, but no one wants to find out because they were afraid that Ryland would kill them in anger even if they breathe loudly. Lockdown. The entire area. Ryland roared loudly. Those guarding elders felt the pressure on them was gone, and quickly follow Ryland's order. Now no one can go out without Ryland's permission. I just want everyone to show me their hands and their belongings, and they can go after that, he blatantly stated. Everyone becomes angry, but they didn't dare to disobey. They could tell by his frantic expression that he would kill anyone who didn't cooperate. Everyone on stage, shows me your hands and anything that can hold things inside. Ryland starts with those on the stage first because they were closest to him. Everyone's expression turns ugly, but they could do nothing. One by one, everyone showed in their hands and their money pouches. After checking every person, Ryland would always place his hand on their forehead and close his eyes. He was actually sensing the storage ring since that ring was bond to him. He could sense the storage space ring if it was near him. Ryland was checking everyone when he heard Felix's unexpected voice. "Father, my money pouch is gone." Felix's voice could be heard by everyone in this silence. Everyone becomes startled. They start to check their money bags. "Mine is gone too." "Mine as well." "Damn it. What is happening? Who dares to steal here?" Everyone was shocked by this strange turn of events, because only participants' pouches were stolen and nobody else. Gracie has almost forgotten about Ace after seeing her father injured and didn't pay any attention to him. She didn't know why her uncle was doing this, but after she heard everyone's alarming cries, she immediately thought of someone. Gracie even forgets about her father and quickly looked behind, but Ace was nowhere. Her face becomes deathly pale, and she started to tremble uncontrollably because there was a large bag laying behind her chair. She didn't dare to check that bag, because if what she was thinking is true, then she's dead. Reuben was agitated because his money bag was also gone missing. Suddenly he noticed Gracie's pale face because he was sitting right next to her. He thought her money bag has also been stolen and feel a little better after thinking he wasn't alone. But when he saw Gracie was looking behind herself, he also looked there confusingly. He only saw a long bag there, and after seeing that bag, he remembered there was a boy who was carrying it this evening and was not here anymore. "Sister Gracie, where is that boy?" Reuben's voice echoed in the silent area like a morning bell. Everyone's attention, included Ryland, turns towards Gracie and Reuben instantly. Gracie's jolt awakened from Reuben's sudden voice. Gracie wanted to kill Reuben now. Did this rascal have to be so loud? She cursed him, but alas, now she could do nothing about it. Everyone was looking at her, and she was also suspecting that her uncle's rage has something to do with Ace's disappearance. If her uncle finds out about her schemes, she shivers after just thinking about the consequences of it. Ryland was a sly fox no matter how much he was freaking out right now. Gracie's pale expression was not right in his view. Even Caden, who was still healing his wound, knows his daughter was hiding something, and it was not a good thing in this kind of situation. "Reuben, who is that boy?" Ryland called. Reuben was so shocked and resentful, he wanted to cry right now. How could his causal word draw Ryland's attention? He was so afraid that he thought he had done something wrong and quickly answered. Family head Sister Gracie was with her servant when she came in now. He is missing. Reuben was anxious that no one would believe him, so he quickly grabs the big bag that was laying on the ground. However, the bag was open, and the movement Reuben picked it up, colorful money bags start to drop like rain on the ground. Everyone saw this scene, and they were shocked silly by this sudden development. All the participants saw those money bags, and they cried in alarm one after another. "That is my money bag. That one with flower pattern is mine. That black and white was mine. I can even tell what's inside it." Everyone began to yell. Reuben was bewildered by this, and he also spotted his money bag in the pile. He immediately took it from the pile and opened it and saw inside were his things. "Sister Gracie, you?" Reuben looked at Gracie in shock. Ryland was so happy seeing this, he couldn't describe it in words. He runs towards Gracie at full speed. Caden quickly followed behind Ryland, because he knew Gracie has done something she shouldn't have, and if Ryland didn't find what he was looking for then, he would definitely punish her. He was afraid Ryland would harm her in his anger, so he was ready to become her shield and accept punishment on her behalf. Gracie was shivering in her spot in fear and anxiety. Now, she had to tell Ryland everything truthfully if she wanted to live. Ryland didn't question Gracie at all, and quickly snatched the bag from Reuben and Stats to search like a maniac for his ring. After searching every inch of the bag, he still could find the ring. Now he finally looked at Gracie coldly, and all of a sudden a mountain-like pressure began to press down on her. She fell on her knees and can't even breathe because of that horrible pressure. Brother at least gives her a chance to explain. Caden calls in panic, seeing Ryland's using full pressure of his cultivation on his daughter. Ryland took a deep breath and said to Gracie in a threatening voice, "Tell me everything. If you hide even a little, I will forget you are my niece." Gracie tells your uncle the truth. He would never harm you. Caden was comforting her or himself. He was from Wasteland and 1 month ago head butler. She starts to tell how she meets Ace and how he slowed her his special skill. She even confesses that she was the one who wanted him to steal from all the participants. I was blinded by greed. Please forgive me, uncle, father. Gracie pleads for mercy. She somewhat knew that bastard had screwed her over by leaving that bag behind. When Ryland, Caden, and everyone heard her story, they were astonished by this boy. Just when did someone like this appear in the wasteland and have this kind of skill? Unfilial daughter. Caden's howl. He was trembling with anger. Now he finally understands why she didn't tell him when he asked her about that boy. He was also regretting he didn't investigate enough and let that boy stay by his daughter's side. Furthermore, he was angrier at Gracie's thievery plan. If she would succeed and only rob the participants, that would not be any problem for him to solve. But that boy somehow stole something from Ryland, and that thing was very important. The most frustrating thing was that boy was now gone. Learning from Gracie's about Ace's special skill, Ryland instantly knows that boy is the one who stole his space ring. But he was extremely perplexed and astonished by the fact. How did he know that was a space ring, and how the hell he steal it under my nose? Ryland didn't have time to waste, so he coldly stated 5 years in the dungeon and 50 whip strikes every month for 5 years. What do you think, brother Caden? Ryland coolly looked towards Caden after announcing Gracie's punishment. Gracie was still his niece, so he can't kill her. But he can't forgive her blunder. I have no objection. Caden didn't want this, but she has become too willful, and she even plans thievery. By doing so, she hides important information about an outsider from family, and now all this has resulted. Maybe I'm not a good father, and now she turns out like this. Caden sighs sadly. Gracie hear her uncle's punishment and quiver in fear. She could live in the dungeon, but those whip strikes were not a laughing matter. Because receiving whips from someone 1 gate above her, and for 5 years every month, at that she would die from pain. She immediately looked hopefully with tearing eyes toward her father for rescue. Yet he completely agrees with her uncle. It was all that son of bitch fault. Gracie's shrill scream resounded in the entire venue, and she fainted with anger and resentment. People around couldn't help but pity Gracie. It was clear that the boy planned all of this and used Gracie's greed to trap her. But alas, now she has to spend her 5 years in the dungeon. Only 15 minutes has passed. Search all the area of family territory. If you still can't find him, search the entire city. I don't care who that boy was and where he came from, search for anything related to him. Also, those who were in charge of servant building and those elders who were supposed to watch the Wastelandians will be punished without mercy. Ryland announced sharply and quickly begins to search. He has to find that ring no matter the cost. Understood. 15 minutes earlier, Ace was watching Rylands like a hawk while using his soul sense at maximum potential. He has been using his soul chi and mentally tired, but in the face of a storage space treasure, he didn't care. The moment Felix's cultivation gate begins to form, Ryland's soul wave flickers slightly. Right at this moment, a soul thread shot towards Ryland's finger. Ace was very careful not to alert Ryland. Since Ace's soul core was still colorless, a chi formation cultivators can sense soul threads if they concentrate using their chi, and Ryland's was not far away from that step either. The soul thread was successfully wrapped around the ring on Ryland's finger. Ace takes a deep breath and waits for the perfect moment, but suddenly remembered something, and he sends another soul thread towards Felix. When Felix's result was clear for everyone to see, Ace noticed. Ryland has finally let his guard down. He quickly activated the pickpocket, and the next moment Felix's money bag was inside that long bag, and Rylan ring was on his finger. Ace becomes excited. I get the ring. Heh. He didn't even hear his system voice in excitement. Now is not the time to celebrate. I have to escape first. He quickly looked around, and everyone has the same kind of expression as Rylan. He took advantage of the commotion, and it was already late evening. Ace used his stealth and disappeared into the crowd, but he left the full bag of these stolen goods behind for Gracie, because he wanted everyone to know that all this was Gracie's plan. He has seen all those innocent wasteland boys who were always begging for their life, but Gracie always killed them in ruthless ways. He didn't want her to escape by saying she didn't know anything, and that's why he left that bag there as evidence. She can't find her way out of it now, once Felix or Reuben notice. He thought while escaping. In 5 minutes, he was already in front of the main gate of the Grant family, and there was still no one chasing after him. Since it was a family meeting today, the security was tight, but for Ace it was nothing. No one notices him leaving. Ace was using silent steps and was heading towards the Kelby family. Now, considering he has alerted the Grant family already, he has to find Eva and complete the system's mission. Eva has told him before that she is staying in her little cottage inside the Kelby family territory, since Asher has gone with his uncle to find Ace. There he didn't need Eva because her skill was not enough in One Star City, so he ordered her to keep searching for clues on Black Ghost. Grant and Kelby's family territories were close to each other. At full speed, Ace has already reached the Kelby family gate in 5 minutes, and he enters like a shadow. Kelby's family security was not as tight as Grant's family. It was also at this time Rylan has started searching the guests' belongings. Ace remembered where Eva has told him to find her in the Kelby family after their plan was set in motion. Ace saw special marks that Eva has left behind on trees. Only he can notice these marks because they were specifically for Ace. He followed those marks and saw a little cottage in an open field. It was very simple, but much better than his old hut. He didn't even need to go inside because a graceful figure emerges behind him. Ace already noticed and smiled while turning around. She was obviously Eva. Eva, let's commence our plan. We didn't have much time, Ace said with a smile. Eva's fox-like beautiful eyes shine when she heard Ace. You were only there for 1 month, and you already succeed in our plan this quick? Inquired Eve suspiciously while narrowing her lovely eyes. The plan that was supposed to take at least 1 year just to set in motion was now complete in a month. This was simply unbelievable for Eva. Ace ignores her questioning gaze and hastily asks her, just tell me this. When Rylan plant this mask on your face, did the contract vanish after he drips your blood on it? In his left hand? If this was true, then Ace has succeeded in his quest to free Eva. But if not, then he has somehow gone back to Grant's family again. Yes, it was like he was using some kind of secret skill. He simply takes this mask and item slave contract out of thin air. But why are you asking this out of blue? Eva was confused. Then this means I succeed. It seems luck was with me this time. Ace laughs delightfully. He has to thank the system. If not for it, he would have never found out about this space ring existence, and even alert the Grant family after infiltrating their treasury. Eva looks around at Ace, but she didn't see any bag or other staff with Ace. Besides, he was perspiring profoundly, and his face was a little pale. He's empty-handed. Did he hit his head? Eva worriedly thought about her team leader and said with a hint of anxiety in her eyes, but you didn't have any bag of holding. Where is the item slave contract? Ace was breathing heavily, but there was a wide smile on his face. I'll tell you after we clean Kelby's family treasury. It has already been 15 minutes since I steal Rylan's ring. He should have already started searching for me. We didn't have time to waste. Where's the treasure? I'll be right back, and then we'll leave this city. Aces grinned mysteriously and wanted to give her a big surprise after completing the system's mission. Eve looked at Ace's pale face with concerns, but his eyes were full of vitality. So, she trusts him and told him where the treasury was located. Kelby's family territory wasn't as big as Grant's family. They only have one main mansion and 2 other districts under their control, so it wasn't hard for Ace to remember all the details. Don't alarm the family head of Kelby family. He's a peak of Chi Gate's realm expert. Eva reminds Ace warily. Don't worry, even that Rylan couldn't find me what that old guy can do. Ace snorted and vanished in the direction that Eva gave him. The main mansion of the Kelby family was big and always protected by the elders of the family. It was where the main family lives. Ace was hiding behind a tree and observing the big mansion of the Kelby family. He didn't see anyone guarding the gates of the mansion, but he could sense two powerful experts hidden nearby with his soul sense. They are weaker than that elder who was hosting the meeting of the Grant family. It seems they're at the fourth gate of Chi Gates. Ace quickly guessed their cultivation base by comparing them with Ezekiel. Ace didn't have much time to waste because he knows if Ryland didn't find him in Grant's family territory, he would ask for the help from Kelby family. And at that time, they would also become alert as well. He has to do it quickly and without anyone noticing it. He used stealth and silent steps with his true and Fail's eyes simultaneously, so he could see hidden traps as well as notice those two experts' sudden movements. Ace enters the mansion through the hidden passage that Eva told him about without alerting those two experts. Inside the mansion were quite large, and there wasn't anyone here except for the attendants and the main family. Ace remembers and followed Eva's instruction and go towards a white pillar that was beside the stairs. When he gets close to the pillar, a panel pop out that he didn't see for a while and heard the system's voice. Equals 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 equals. Target and range. Did the host want to scan the target? Cost 10 thief points. Equals 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 equals. Ace snorted and ignored the system. Since he already knows everything about the treasury, what is the point of wasting the thief points? He active tour in false eyes and saw a strange mechanism on the pillar. It was like Billy's shop hidden doors, but more advanced. Just like before, he saw mysterious gray lines and a dark hole between them. He quickly active treasure opening hand, second form, 2 fingers as key in, arrange his metallic fingers on the hole. The hole vibrates a little, and his fingers started to sink in it. With a light-y sound, the illusionary array disables, and the pillar shows a hidden door. Ace fully activates his heavenly sense and confirms that there were no one behind this door. This door was not some simple door, because Ace could see complex gray lines on it, and it will not be opened by simple means. After all, the whole treasury of the Kelby family was probably behind this door. This array on the door was not an illusionary array. It was a locking array. After finding the dark hole, one position of the locking array, Ace closed his eyes and begun to use the third form of treasure, opening hands pattern key. Ace's 3 fingers started to turn silvery and a strange symbolic pattern surface on them. He places his silvery finger on the locking array flaw or dark hole. With a little vibration, his finger sinks in it, and a light, pap sound rang, which means the door was opened. Ace quickly opened the door and saw an underground passage. After confirming with his heavenly sense that there was no one, he went in. With silent steps, he reached the end of the pathway in seconds. At the end of the pathway, he saw a silver-colored door that was probably made of some special metal, and the treasures were unmistakably behind this silver door. The treasury of Kelby family. Ace's heartbeat races as he was filled with excitement. Ace used the true and false eyes, and this time he saw 2 little dark holes in the silver door array. He now has some idea that the more powerful or flawless the array is, the black holes will be hard to find and unlock as well. Now he has to use the 4th form of the treasure opening skill, Lock Eraser Key. Ace commences operating the skill with both of his hands. His palms turned silvery, and a single golden mysterious symbol started to form in the center of his palms. The golden symbol looks like a spike with tiny needles around it. Ace has practiced this skill the most after Pickpocket, and was a little bit away from mastering the 5th and final form. He places both palms on dark holes, and the moment it happened, the silver door trembled a little, and the dark holes mysteriously started to spin. Ace felt the golden symbol started to suck his heavenly chi wildly, and his face started to turn paler. The locking array on the silver door crack opens after 20 seconds. Ace was panting and exuding profoundly because he was drained after using the 4th form Lock Eraser Key together with his eyes skill. Furthermore, he was continuously using Soul Chi form this evening that put a large burden on his mind and body. I should be able to escape with my remaining chi. Ace deemed weakly as he gradually opened the silver door. When the silver door opens, a strong medicinal aroma enters his nose, and Ace felt his mind become a little clear. He immediately knew there were large numbers of alchemy pills in here, and high-quality ones at that. As Ace enters the treasury, his eyes brighten with glittering lights. He saw rows of shining weapons and shelves of colorful pill bottles. But he didn't have much time left to appraise all of this. He quickly looked at the blue ring excitedly on his finger and questioned the system. System, tell me, how can I use this storage ring? Ace didn't bring anything with him since he has this storage ring. He was thrilled about using this legendary storage ring. If a storage space treasures as owner, then it is also bound by the owner's chi mark, until the owner died or removes the QI mark of its own free will. No one can see inside or use the storage space treasures. The system has already deducted 1 TP on its own since the host seems to be in a hurry. System answered, but this time its voice wasn't emotionless, but a hint of playfulness was mixed within. But Ace didn't notice it at all because he was dumbfounded and started to panic after hearing. He can't use the storage ring without killing Rylan. He didn't even bring a bag after getting his hands of the space ring in excitement. Now how the hell he was supposed to bring all these treasures out? In his hand. A free suggestion for the host. Check the message panel. System voice rang in his head, but this time it was emotionless and cold like always. Ace snapped out of it by system voice and finally remembered that he has received some kind of notification when he steals a storage ring, but he was in a hurry to escape and didn't pay much attention to it at that time. Now that system points it out for him, he remembers about it and quickly opens the massage panel. Equals 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 equals. Message panel. Pickpocket succeed. Host steal. Lowest grade storage space treasure. Lowest grade pills. White rank pills 393. Low grade pills. Green rank pills 102. Middle level low grade pills. Blue ranked pills 3. Lowest grade weapons 1 star 44. Low grade weapons 2 star 8. Middle level low grade weapon 3 stars 1. Techniques and skills of lowest level. Mortal level 4 techniques 9 skills. Techniques and skills of low level. Warrior level 2 techniques for skills. Ruby coins 12.4 million. Chi stones trash grade. Low level 98,762. Low grade slave contracts 2 stars 3. Medicinal herbs and metal ores of low grade. Green ranked 2 stars 87 herbs. 52 metal ores. Rewards 653 thief points. Thief points 703. Equals 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 equals. Ace didn't dare to believe what he just saw. He rubbed his eyes to check again, but that huge list was still there. The huge amount of TP was still there as well. He forgets that he was currently standing inside the treasury of the Kelby family as excitement fills his heart and laughs like a loony. I'm rich. That old guy hides his wealth well. He even has these pill, weapons, techniques, and even currency of upper-level lands. Where the hell did he get this from? Ace muttered joyously, but there was a hint of uncertainty in his eyes. Ace wasn't a brat of the outer region anymore. He has read an old book about kingdoms and knew they used chi stones as currency. He also knows these warrior-level skills and techniques were monopolized by them, and if they find out that Grant's family has so many of them, they would probably annihilate the whole River Flower City down to the last chicken in fury. That bastard surely robbed someone from a kingdom where he finds this ring somewhere. He thought grimly, and his guess was extremely accurate. Many years ago, Ryland finds an expert of a kingdom. That expert was gravely injured. Ryland was about to help him when he noticed him using the storage ring from afar. He was quite knowledgeable, and he read about these legendary storage treasures in his family's secret records. These space treasures were managed by upper-level lands, just like skills. But one can get a storage ring if he has connections and chi stones. Ryland took advantage of the situation and killed that man, and take the storage ring and all of his belonging in it. Ryland even burned his body to ashes and leave no trace behind so no one can trace it back to him. That's why Rylan was so panicked at that time when the storage ring vanished. He thought the kingdom whom the cultivator he had killed tracked him down and want to avenge their dead member. But when he discovered his ring was only stolen by a little boy of wastelands, he has a sigh of relief and starts to search for Ace before someone could figure out his biggest secret. Ace calms down and notices another message below this big list. Ace was bewildered by this particular notification, and suddenly delight surfaces on his face. System, doesn't this mean I don't need this space ring anymore, and you can store my items for me? Are you also a storage space treasure? Ace thought that he finally figures out what kind of treasure system was, but not after hearing the system's hostile answer. No, the system is not a mere storage space treasure. Do you want to open thief space function or not? System rebuke in an emotionless voice. Ace guesses that he has angered the system by calling it a space treasure. Hence, he quickly changes the topic. How can I open this thief space? He asked in full of excitement and expectation. Just a mere thought about getting his own storage space make his blood boil. A storage space treasure of any rank and 500 thief points are required to unlock the thief space. So expensive. Ace growls out loud as his voice was filled with grievance. He was finally feeling like a rich man, seeing all these spoils, and especially 700 plus TP. But now this black-hearted system wanted his 500 TP all at once. Even that Heaven Stealer pill that was the most expensive thing in the system shop only cost 150 TP. How could he not be grieved by it? Do it, Ace said in a mosquito voice. He felt his heart was bleeding after seeing his TP turn from 703 to 203. He quickly cheers himself up after thinking about this thief space function. Congratulations! Your thief storage space of 10 cubic meters has been unlocked. For next upgrade, you need 1,000 TP and 2 storage space treasures of any rank to further increase the thief space by 40 cubic meters. Thief space can only store non-living beings. If the host wants to store living beings inside, you need to upgrade it with 10 low-grade storage space treasures and 5,000 TP. System cold voice transmitted inside Ace's head. The blue space ring on his finger suddenly turns to dust, and all of a sudden, his soul began to feel agitated. After a moment passed, he suddenly felt something new that was now part of his soul, and it was a baffling feeling. A piece of new information appeared in his brain at this moment, and with a thought, a yellow old book appeared in his hand. This was the skill book that was stored in the blue ring before, and now all the other things that were in the storage ring were inside his thief space. With just a thought, that book vanished from his hand and reappeared inside his 10 cubic meters dark thief space. All those TP were worth it. But to upgrade this space, I have to spend quite some TP. It's simply too expensive. Well, this space is big enough for now. After getting the hang of the system's new function, Ace quickly focuses on the current task at hand and quickly starts to do his job. Ace didn't know what he was taking, but he was storing anything that comes to contact with his hand. Since he has all those treasures from Kingdom, he didn't expect much from this treasury of the mere Kelby family. After running around tirelessly, he finally cleans the entire room that was glittering with treasure 5 minutes ago. After watching this clean, empty room, he nodded in satisfaction. Mission complete. Time to escape. He quickly closed the silver door and ran towards the exit. After coming out of the white pillar's hidden door, he closed it, and that array was active again, and it becomes a white pillar again. No one will be able to tell without going inside. The treasury was already emptied. Ace exits from the hidden door. After successfully escaping from the mansion, he heads straight towards Eva's cottage to pick her up and leave this city. He didn't want to leave his birthplace, but without doing it, he couldn't become strong and meet with his little sister. Ace quickly approached Eva's cottage, and she was already waiting for him outside the door anxiously. Did you succeed? Eve asked him hastily with concerned eyes. Ace grinned broadly and answered, Just who do you think I am? I'll tell you about the details later. First, we have to leave the city. It is going to be a huge commotion tomorrow. Your bag seems quite heavy. It will slow you down. Let me take care of it. Finished saying, he touched the big bag in Eva's hand and stored it inside his thief space. Eva was about to decline his offer when she saw her bag was disappeared in thin air. It was the same scene that she saw Ryland doing all those years ago, and it left a deep impression on her mind. That's why she still remembers it. But now Ace was doing the same kind of thing. She was startled and asked in bewilderment, "You? How?" Before she could inquire any further, Ace quickly said, "I'll tell you everything after we leave this city. Now, let's go." We didn't have much time. He used silent steps again and runs towards the main gate of the Kelby family. He didn't use stealth fully because Eva could not follow him with the stealth at its peak. Eva has too many questions, but Ace was in a hurry, so she could only follow him and ask later. They left Kelby's family with ease and head towards the inner region gate. That night, two silhouettes disappeared into the forest outside of Riverflower City. Before disappearing, one of those two figures stopped moving and turns around to see the beautiful city one last time. It smiled and said, "I'll be back," and disappeared inside the vast forest. After 5 minutes, Eva and Ace left the Kelby family. Ryland's figure appeared outside the gate of the Kelby family. Ryland didn't look like his normal calm and aloof self. He was disheveled and panting heavily. He has searched the entire Grant family and couldn't even find Ace's shadow. Then he has no choice but to come here to seek help from his son-in-law, the current family head of the Kelby family. It was disgraceful, but he could not think of any other way. He didn't want others to find out about that storage ring. If this secret were exposed, he will be dead with his entire family or maybe with the entire city. Kelby family has a special treasure that can find a person by their unique smell. He has that big bag in his hand that Ace holds this morning. This was his last chance, and Ryland directly enters the gate and heads straight towards the main mansion of the Kelby family. Those gate guards become startled by this sudden intruder and are about to raise the alarm when they saw Ryland's face. They quickly recognize him and let him pass. Ryland quickly appeared outside of the big mansion and was about to charge into it when he felt two chi were locked on him. Oomph. He snorts coldly and released the pressure of his cultivation base. Those two elders were immediately come from hiding and bow to Ryland. "We greet Master Grant. Please forgive our previous offense." Ryland didn't have time for a chat and shout, "Lila, Sumyen, come out and see me right now." Ryland directly called the family head by his name, and those two elders smile wryly on the side. Only he has the guts to call him like that. If it was anyone else, they would have died by now. Ryland used his cultivation base to amplify his voice, and the entire area was rang with his sound. The gate of the mansion opens, and a man in his late 30s walks out with a beautiful woman beside him. She resembled Ryland a little, but she was more charming. She was Ryland's daughter, Lila Grant, and Asher's mother. The man beside her was the current family head of the Kelby family and Asher, Father Sumyen Kelby. Sumyen could see Ryland was not looking so good by his pale complex, and his hair was a tangled mess. He immediately asked, "What happened to you?" Beside him, Lila also saw her father's condition and asked anxiously, "Father, why are you looking like this? Did something happen?" Ryland saw his daughter's worried expression and couldn't help but felt little warmth in his heart. But he quickly remembered that if he didn't find that brat, he and his entire family would be exterminated. "It is like this." He quickly explained the events that unfold today. "He stole our clan mortal grade skill, and I need to find him before he escapes somewhere else. Sumyen lends me your clan all direction compass, and after I find that brat, I can lend my family mortal skill to Kelby family for 6 months. He quickly changed his space ring with mortal grade skill. Since it was really in it, he wasn't telling any lie. Sumyen's eyes glow when he heard Ryland promised. Even those elders who were standing on the side grasps. Sumyen always wanted to learn that skill, but Ryland never let him. But now he was offering it for 6 whole months. How could he not be agreed with him? "Ha ha. Father-in-law, we are family. Since that bastard dares to steal from you, it means he steals from me. Let's go inside, and I fetch that compass for you from the treasury." He didn't wait for Ryland's agreement and quickly proceed towards the treasury. He was afraid Ryland would change his mind and go back on his words. Lila snorted after hearing her husband's shameless words. She knew him more than anyone else. He would not do anything until he saw benefits in it. She ignored him and said to Rylan in a gentle tone, "Father, come inside and rest for a while. That little slave can't run far. We will find him with the all-direction compass. He can't escape," Lila said confidently, because that all-direction compass can even find someone from miles away, not to mention that it was nigh impossible in their eyes to imagine that the thief can escape the city in due time. Rylan relaxes a bit after hearing her guarantee and accepts her offer and head inside. Since those two elders were already here, Lila invites them for some tea politely, and they accept the offer. Anyway, they also wanted to find that brat, or more accurately, that mortal-grade skill. Rylan and those two elders have just entered the mansion when they heard Sum Yin's shrill screams like a dog who was about to die. No. Everyone was alarmed and quickly followed his voice and entered the white pillar. They quickly advanced towards the silver door and enters the treasury. Inside, they saw Sum Yin was lying on the ground while his face was twitching continuously, and he keeps muttering like some madman, "All gone. All gone. All gone. All gone." Lila saw her husband first, and anxiety fills her face. She was about to ask him what happened when she noticed that the treasury was empty. Yes, it was empty. She didn't even make a sound, and her eyes roll upwards, and she fainted on the spot from this huge trauma. Those two elders and Rylan also saw all this and were stunned silly. Is this really a treasury? Rylan shuddered for the first time in his life. That night, a piece of big news that shatters the entire Riverflower City peace spread. Someone has robbed the Grant family of their mortal-grade skill, and it was most likely that the same person has plundered the entire Kelby family treasury. Even City Lord Matthews comes out from his seclusion cultivation after hearing this unexpected news. After leaving the Riverflower City, Ace and Eva heading in the western direction. Since all the big cities are in the west, they were going to Red Mountain City that was somewhere between the western and eastern low-level lands. Red Mountain was also the closest one-star city around Riverflower City, and most importantly, no one from Grant or Kelby family would dare to move freely in a one-star city. Red Mountain City was 5 days' travel away from the Riverflower City. They traveled tens of miles in the forest at full speed because they were afraid of those two families sending reinforcements after them. Considering Ace was almost out of chi after all he did today, he and Eva traveled for 6 hours before finding an empty cave to rest for the night. After hiding their tracks and closed the cave entrance carefully, Eva lit the fire in the dark cave. "Give me my bag, I packed some rations." When Ace was doing his job, Eva backpacked everything she could for travel. Ace was panting heavily while leaning against the wall of the cave. His complexion was not quite good because of overdrawing his chi. "I outdid myself today." He smiles bitterly when he heard Eva's charming voice and snaps out of his thoughts. He quickly takes Eva's bag out from his thief space. Eva saw Ace take her bag out of thin air and again overwhelmed by it. She forgets about Ash and Ace and asks like a curious child, "Now, tell me quickly, how can you do things like Rylan?" Ace was hoping to recover a bit first, but seeing her acting like a child, he swiftly recalled that she was a chatterbox, and if he didn't tell her about storage space treasures, she would pester him to no end. Sahi sighed helplessly and tells her, "It is like this today. In the meeting, I saw Rylan." Ace tells her about what happened today, while Eva listens with twinkling eyes. After 15 minutes, Ace's story was finally finished, and he didn't care about Eva, who was flabbergasted and looking at him like he was some kind of monster. He starts to eat the cooked meat like a wild animal. You really did all this in half an hour?" She points her trembling finger at Ace while she exclaimed in shock. Their original plan was after Ace successfully wins Gracie's trust, he would make Gracie somehow spills the beans about the Grant family's treasury. He can't scout with the system because it only worked with his mission targets. After Ace gets the information, he would inform Eva. They have the advantage of Eva knowing about the Kelby family's hidden treasury, so Ace didn't have to worry about it. Once he confirms the position of Grant's family treasury, Ace would act and plunder the entire Grant's treasury. He knows treasuries can't be opened regularly, and if they emptied Grant's family treasury without anyone noticing it, no one knows when the treasury would be open. In meantime, they would have already hit the Kelby family's treasury and complete their task to plunder both families. That was their original plan, but Ace has done all of this in half an hour, and he even gets a legendary item like storage space treasure. How could Eva not be stunned silly? F.O. waff. So what? Ace answered smugly while eating. Humph. Slow down, or you might choke to death. She puffed after seeing Ace's pleased face. However, Eva has to admit this 12-year-old guy has just robbed two of the most powerful families of a 2-star city in half an hour. She secretly admires him in her heart. Tell me, how do you find out about Ryland's space ring, and how did he get it? I don't know how he gets it, but one thing is clear, he can't buy these things like space ring and all these techniques, even if he has the wealth. My guess is he finds this space ring on the corpse of someone from a kingdom. As for how I find out about that space ring, that's a trade secret. Ace grinned mysteriously. Furthermore, before Ace has some doubts about the system, but after the system gave him a storage space like thief space like it was nothing, and he even has the option to upgrade it. He was sure now that this system has come from outside of this world, and he would never tell anyone about the system, not even his little sister. It's not like he didn't trust Alina, it's just that he didn't want to bring her any troubles. Because if one day someone comes looking for his secrets or the system, they might have some kind of heaven-defining treasure. Hence, he decided that he would never tell anyone about it. Fine, fine. I know you have your own secrets, so I won't ask again. Now, give me the contract so I can get rid of this cursed mask. Eva was displeased seeing Ace acting all mysterious and finally give up. She just wanted to free herself from this mask now. Ace didn't delay either and take out 3 thin stone slates. There were mysterious patterns engraved on them. These stone slates were item slave contracts. Slave marks were the weakest forms of slave contract. They were normally used on mortals and some of weaker Chi Gate's realm cultivators. Slave marks can be planted on someone by taking their blood on slave contracts, and if one isn't strong enough, they can't resist. But Eva's mask was a higher-level slave contract. It was an item slave contract. It was a set of 1 item and 1 contract together. She was a devil, so she can't be bound by those normal slave contracts, even if she was not strong. However, Ryland has found this item slave contracts in that space ring. They were especially used on Chi Foundation building realm or other races with special abilities. He thought that since Eva was a half-devil, she will be strong in the future. That's why he planted this slave item on her, so he could control her in the future. If she wanted to free herself from this item slave contract, she has to break through into Chi River Realm, a realm above Chi Foundation building realm. Which one is yours? Ace showed her those 3 stone slates. Eva's eyes brightened when she saw those slave contracts. She quickly points towards one in the center. On this contract was a mysterious pattern that looked like a fox. That one. Give it to me, Eva said excitedly. Ace didn't say anything and give the contract to her, because he also wanted to free her since he considers her his first friend. Eva quickly grabs the contract, and then she used her full power to shatter the stone slate with the fox-like engraving. The moment the stone slate shatters, the mask that tormented Eva for all these years begins to crack and shatter. When a mask on her face was shattered, Eva's face was revealed for the first time in many years. Ace saw her face and was instantly bewitched by it. Eva had an oval face that was clear of any impurities. Her skin was creamy and tender, and unexpectedly, she was in no way inferior to little Alina. A mature, breathtaking beauty. With a charming smile on her face, she was looking at Ace with her fox-like hazel eyes, and her graceful figure starts to exude an imposing manner, along with the power coursing in those eyes of hers. She could easily have been mistaken as an aloof, otherworldly being. Ace nearly forgot to breathe after seeing Eva's charming face. Before he thought that only Alina could have this kind of face when she would mature, but now seeing another beauty on the same level as Alina, he was mystified. Eva saw Ace was drooling while he was looking at her like a fool. A smile bloomed on her beautiful face, but there were also tears in her eyes. I'm finally free from this curse, she thinks as she clears the tears from her eyes. Why are you gawking at me like an idiot? Didn't you see any beautiful girl before? Eva teases Ace as she giggles. Ace snapped out of his daze and quickly noticed a droll on his lips, and he blushed. He was having a hard time just looking away from Eva's face. She is really beautiful. Ace suddenly felt a strange feeling in his body. But before he could find out, he felt Eva's power was rising rapidly and becomes serious. Eva also feels her cultivation starts to increase at a rapid pace. She has only opened the second gate of Chi gates in all these years. Now, in an instant, third gate was already opened, and her cultivation was still rising. Fourth gate of the Chi gates. But it still didn't stop here. In seconds, Eva's aura skyrocketed, and she opened the fifth gate. Eva's cultivator finally stopped at the peak of Chi Gate's realm. She was only a single step away from entering the Chi Foundation building realm. Teach this, what happened? Eva was bewildered. Ace was also overwhelmed. He didn't expect that she could reach the same level as Rylan in an instant. I think it has something to do with that slave mask. He makes a wild guess. My thoughts exactly. She was agreed with Ace. They were right. It has happened because the scariest thing about these item slave contracts is they would never let their host to break through into Chi River Realm. The slave item on the host body would always be sucking on their chi continuously and make it extremely difficult just to break through to a small realm, much less a whole full realm. But if somehow the host of the item manages to break through into the Chi River Realm, the slave item would release all the chi that it stole from its host for all those years and self-destruct on its own. And the host of the slave item would turn into meat paste with the slave item itself. Rylan wasted this precious item slave contract from a kingdom on Eva so he could control her, but even he didn't know that this item has been sucking more than half of Eva's chi in all these years. That was also the reason she was still stuck at the second stage of Chi Gate's realm even after she was a half-devil. Now the contract has been lifted, so all that chi that was stored in that mask for years was given back to Eva, and she reached the peak stage of Chi Gates' realm in one step. Furthermore, since Eva was a half-devil, she doesn't have any bottleneck in her cultivation until she reached the Chi River realm. Eva thought emotionally, I think this is the reward I get after all my years of suffering. Now she was truly free. Ace was still staring at Eva's charming face. He couldn't help but deem having a powerful beauty like Eva as a team member isn't a bad thing at all. Ace was daydreaming when Eva's focus shifted on him again, and he quickly looked away in panic and blushed a little as if he was caught doing something wrong. Eva tittered, seeing Ace's silly expression, and said, You should eat first. I'm going to cultivate because of the sudden increase in my power, and I think I awoke some new memories of my devil lineage. Therefore, don't disturb me, and stop peeping at me from the corner of your eye. If you want to look then, just look at not like I'm stopping you. After all, even I didn't see how I look now after all these years, and you're the first person to see me, but from your expression, I think my face is not that bad. Eva chortled as she teases Ace, whose face has become redder after getting caught red-handed. Ace forced himself to shift his attention on his meal from Eva's face. He was feeling a strange kind of sensation today that he was very confused about. Why did I act like an idiot? It's not like I didn't see this kind of beauty before. He starts to eat again, and Eva sits on the corner of the cave while muttering something. She was cultivation, her devil clan cultivation technique. After finishing his meal, he feels a lot better. He suddenly remembers something and quickly transmitted in his mind eagerly. System, I complete my second mission, so where are my rewards? He has gained more than 500 TP by coincidence, and now he has completed his mission perfectly, so he was expecting great rewards. Especially that job mission. He was curious about it the most. The black mission panel appears in front of Ace's eyes. Equals. Staring the evaluation process. Mission panel. Honorable thief's dignity. Someone is trying to steal from a thief, and this is unacceptable. Consequently, the host has to show the despicable stealer who's the real thief is. The host has to empty the whole Kelby family treasury. The honor of a thief is in your hand, host. Status, complete. Scanning host performance, 1.2.3, 100% complete. Result, performance rating, average. Reward will be 2x for the first 3 missions. Second 2x reward will be given now. 2x reward. EXP equals 5,000. Soul points, SP, equals 2,000. Thief points, TP, equals 850. Rewards have been added to host status. Equals 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 equals. Second reward. Job mission has been given. Job mission. Host has to do honorable thievery at a city lord's mansion of the number 1 city in the low-level lands. Lands of cities. Rewards. Thief panel will be unlocked. Shop will be updated. Other rewards based on host performance. Time, 5 years. Punishment on failing. System will stop working for 50 years. Equals 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 equals. Ace viewed all this information and listened to the system in excitement. But when he heard his performance was only rated as average, he was dumbfounded and questioned the system in anger. Why average? This time I didn't even get noticed by anyone. Equals 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 equals. System will consider this first free question of the host. System evaluates the host performance according to the thievery criteria set by the system. No doubt, the host did an excellent job by doing his mission diligently. However, the host has forgotten to do the most important thing in both. That is, the host didn't leave his honorable thief's name behind. A thief's honorable name is like a second life. If the other party didn't know who robbed them, how could they spread your fame throughout the world? If the host would have left his name on the scene, the system would evaluate host performance a level higher. Secondly, the host didn't steal everything. The treasury door, its array, and the traps are all considered treasures inside the treasury. Consequently, the host cannot get any higher evaluation. Lastly, there are not all the mistakes that the host has made, but the system can only tell you according to your 0-level authority. If the host wants to know more, upgrade your authority level. Equals 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 equals. The system gives Ace a long yet passionate explanation. Ace becomes inarticulate after hearing all this nonsense. She want me to leave my name so they can spread my fame? Bullshit. It's more like they will spare no effort to hunt me down. And I even have to steal that big door and that array as well now. First, I have to know how the hell I'm supposed to detach them without anyone catching me first, and even this is not enough to give me a perfect rating. He nearly blew his top and swore out loud. He didn't want to bicker with the system, since he didn't know when it would take his precious question away, so he endured. Ace could only calm down after seeing all those bountiful rewards. Where is this number 1 city? Well, I will find out soon enough when I reach Red Mountain City. And what is a thief panel? Ace's face turned grave when he thought about this job mission. He really wanted to ask the system, but he didn't want to waste his precious question. He questioned after some deliberation. System, tell me where you come from. Host has not enough authority. Then why do you choose me? This question was in his mind for a very long time. Host has not enough authority. Then why a thief of all professions? This was another one of the most important questions that he always wanted to ask. Ace somewhat knew for a fact that the system can cultivate him into anything. He could be an alchemist or crafter, or even a rune crafter that he hears from the system that time. He even can become a powerful warrior with all these mysterious skills, and especially with the Heaven Stealer technique. But why a thief? He didn't expect any answer from the system about this question either, but unexpectedly system answered. A thief is free and can do whatever he wants. He isn't bound by any regulations of society, or he has to follow any rules of a nation. If he is strong enough, he isn't even bound by the laws of heaven itself. So why become an alchemist or a crafter when you can just take those things made by them with a mere thought? Why become a warrior when you can just steal your enemies everything and become an even worse nightmare for them? Why fight in light when you become a sovereign in darkness? Remember, host a thief is free. Ace instantly fell into a trance-like state after hearing system words he didn't expect. That a thief can be described in such a way. It was like a barrier has been broken and his cultivation starts to advance. After 10 hours, Ace finally come back to his senses and felt his muscles can resonate with chi, just like his skin. He could even feel his bones were also undergoing a tremendous change. I've entered the 3rd gate of the Heaven's Gates realm in one night. I think it was because of experience and some kind of mysterious power in system words that made me understand the Heaven Stealer technique more deeply. A thief is free, huh? He remembered with a simper on his face. Ace transmitted, show my status. Equals 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 equals. Status panel. Host, Ace White. Race, human, no bloodline. Heaven, first mortal sky heaven. Martial cultivation. Heavenly gates, third heavenly bones gate. EXP, 450/5000. Soul cultivation, yellow wind soul core. SP, 999/1000 extra. 1031. Thief points, TP 1053. Skills 5. Stealth basic, high. Silent steps basic, high. True and false eyes basic. Middle. Treasure opening hands, basic art. Fourth form. Pickpocket middle. Cultivation technique, 2. Heaven Stealer technique, volume 1, dual shadow swords. Current mission, 1. Equals 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 equals. Ace was astonished by his status and quickly used his heavenly sense. And to his surprise, now he could see or sense 30 meters of the area around him. I didn't expect that my soul cultivation would go up as well. And according to the system, my soul is already equaled to the heavenly foundation building realm. Ace became ecstatic just thinking about the heavenly foundation building realm. This was really an expected surprise. Ace forms soul threads on his fingers, and now each finger could form 2 threads. Also, they were not colorless anymore now. They were yellow. This was the heavenly soul, Chi, after he forms the yellow wind soul core of the black wind soul technique. But only Ace could see it or another soul cultivator who was a whole realm above him. After testing his soul cultivation for some time, he shifts his attention elsewhere. Now he has more than 1,000 TP. He couldn't help but smile ear to ear and said, "System, open the shop." Ace can now buy other things from the system shop. Last time he didn't have many TPs, so he didn't pay much attention to the shop's other items. But now he has more than enough. Equals 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 equals. System shop. Available skill books. Available cultivation technique. Available weapons. Available pills. Equals 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 equals. Ace saw one by one. The skill book has not been changed, and the same goes for technique and pills. Ace open weapons panel. Equals 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 equals. Available weapons. Black blade sword set. 1 short sword, 1 long sword. First grade weapons. Price, 30 thief points. 2 face mask. Average illusionary formation item. Price, 80 thief points. Invisible bead, 5 available. One-time use for 1 minute. Price, 50 thief points per bead. Equals 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 equals. Ace saw this time the weapons descriptions have been changed and grads have appeared in front of them except invisible bead. He was astonished and asked the system, "System, what does this first grade and formation mean?" He was quite perplexed because he knows even those blue-ranked alchemy pills and 3-star weapon were only low-grade levels in system evaluation. Now he saw first grade emerged in system shop, and he never even heard about formation before. 3 TP required. System asked in an emotionless voice. Take them. Ace said annoyingly. He was still no use to this. There are 9 grades of alchemists, crafters, and rune crafters in entire mortal sky heaven. 1st to 9th grade alchemists can create pills from 1st to 9th grade. Same goes for crafters, they can create weapons from 1st to 9th grade. As for the rune crafters, 1 SD to 9th level rune crafter can engrave runes on any object, included weapons and pills. These runes are called rune symbols, and they are also divided between 9 grades. Rune symbols are the essence of rune crafting. An array can only contain 9 rune symbols. After the array came the rune formations. A formation can contain more than 9 rune symbols, and it is much powerful. And how many rune symbols can one engrave are depend on the material. As for what is above the 9th grade, the host has to upgrade his authority to know about this information. The system can only give this much information with host current authority level. Ace felt a brand new world has been opened to him after hearing this new information. His heartbeat raced because if these weapons and formations are as powerful as the system describes them to be, doesn't that mean he can be invincible if this world didn't even have a first-grade weapon? He didn't even hear of Runecrafter before, much less about this formation. But now he saw a formation item in the system shop for sale, and that item was only for 80 TP. He asked in excitement, "System, then how is this first-grade weapons listed in this world?" According to system analysis of host memories and knowledge, first-grade weapons should be above 9-star weapons. The host didn't have much knowledge about this world power order. That's why the system can't answer this question. Ace only heard above 9-star weapons and said promptly, "System, I want to buy everything." He was afraid that the system would change the weapon shop since he now knew what it means to have treasures of this level. Purchase has been successful. Everything has been delivered to host Thief Space. Thief points, TP 690. Ace didn't care about 360 TP since he has spent them on first-grade treasures. He quickly checks his Thief Space. Inside, with all those stolen goods in the corner, appeared a set of beautiful pitch-black double-edged swords. The short sword was 1 feet long and 2 inches wide, while the long sword was 3 feet long and 3-inch wide. Besides the sword set was a half-black and half-white mask. On its edges was engraved more than 9 rune symbols. It was clearing a formation. Lastly, there were 5 gray small beads filled with mysterious rune symbols. Ace becomes extremely happy seeing all these great items. He really wants to test them now, especially those 2 black swords. He felt some kind of connection with them for some reason. Eva was still cultivating while her eyes were tightly closed. Ace thought for some time and decided to test these swords while traveling this forest. It was filled with demonic beasts after all. He takes out the black and white mask after he gave up on the idea of testing the swords. The moment he touched the mask, the information of how to use it was transmitted into his brain by the system. He was quite impressed by this mask after he read all the information. This mask can change his face into 2 different persons. He just has to select the target and let the mask formation scan it. After, the mask formation will create the illusion of the same face. This formation can even fool Chi River cultivators. With this mask, I don't have to be afraid of Gant or Kelby family, even if I go back to Riverflower City now. But since I'm on my new journey and with this new job mission, I have to travel towards the upper-level cities. At least with this mask in new places, I can always hide my face and do my mission with another face. He grins evilly after thinking about the advantages of the two-face mask. He put the mask back into his thief storage space, and after clearing his thoughts, he starts to cultivate his dual shadow swords. His heavenly chi has already been replenished after he break through into the 3rd gate of heavenly gates. Ace's soul and body have already experienced a breakthrough in cultivation, so he was focusing on dual shadow swords. It was his only technique that he still can't cultivate properly no matter how much he tries, but Ace has a firm heart and did not give up because he knows this technique can be his life-saving technique if he successfully cultivates it. After 2 hours, Ace was cultivating his shadow dual swords technique the whole time, but he still didn't make any progress, and he was depressed about it. Eva opens her beautiful eyes after a full night of cultivation, and now she was looking more like some fairy. She smiled after seeing Ace's frowning face and said in her charming voice, "You didn't seem happy about something?" Ace was awakened by Eva's mild voice and saw her smiling face. He couldn't help but admire her face when he saw it again. He said with a forced smile, "No, it's nothing serious. On the other hand, you seem quite happy about something. Did you get something amazing in your memories?" "Yes, I get 2 new skills, and they're quite powerful, so I need some time to master them. But don't worry, it won't affect our journey. Let's continue our voyage to Red Mountain City," said Eva. They begin their journey again. Ace said as they passed trees, "I didn't see any demonic beasts in our way. Did they not live in this forest?" He wanted to test his swords, but he couldn't find any beasts to test them, so he asked Eva since she was more knowledgeable than him. "There are many high-level demonic beasts here, but they're deep in the forest. We're just about to enter their territories." Eva answered in a serious voice. Ace becomes serious after hearing her. He knows what these demonic beasts are capable of. They aren't just any normal chi beast that he eats. They were demonic beasts of beast race. Beast race is number 5 on the ranking of races in the Golden Sky world, just below the humans. Beast race is the most ancient race of the Golden Sky world. It is even ancient than Devil race. The beast race was actually the true inhabitant of this world. But one day, other races start to emerge out of nowhere. This completely enraged the beast race, the true masters of this world, and a huge war broke out. No one knows how this great war ended, but it did clearly not end in the favor of the beast race. Because in the end, the entire world split into 10 pieces, and the beast race, who were supposed to be the true owner of this world, was ended up in the 5th rank. But to this day, the best race was still found all over the world. The demonic beast was a branch of the beast race that lived in the Azure Wind continent. They can cultivate like beast race, but they cannot transform into human form after they reached a threshold like true beast race. Ace and Eva were now deep into this vast, unknown forest. They were still relatively far before reaching the Red Mountain City and needed to travel at least 4 more days to reach their destination. In this region of forest, the demonic beasts frequently roamed. This was the first time Ace had been so far away from Riverflower City. His heart was somewhat excited, but also vigilant. Eva was also very excited. She did travel before with her father, but she didn't remember much about that journey. She was very young at that time, and her mother was just passed away, so it wasn't a pleasant memory. While traveling on the dirt road, Ace suddenly noticed some movements behind him. He operated his heavenly chi and gathered it at his feet, and was ready to activate silent steps so that he could quickly dodge or attack at any time. Eva, something is approaching us. Get ready for the battle. If we can't defeat it, then I'll buy you some time to escape. He has just warned Eva about the danger. Shwa, shwa, shwa. When he saw a big tiger with a horn was coming towards them at high speed. He had not expected that he would encounter a demonic beast this early after they just entered this part of the forest. The expression in the horned tiger's eyes was very dull and filled with murderous intent. One could tell that he was here to hunt for his meal. As soon as the tiger appeared, Ace took out a set of inky swords from his thief space. Ace felt as if they were part of his arm the moment he held those swords in his hands. He didn't have time to understand that feeling because that horned tiger has already leaped towards Ace at full speed. The horned tiger's attack was although simple, but at the same time was also quick and ruthless. At the moment it leaped, 2 black lights flickered in Ace's eyes. Heavenly chi released from his whole body, as heavenly chi suddenly poured into his swords. The long sword burst out with a mysterious aura, and Ace slashed his sword in a circular motion. A long arch congealed from heavenly chi appeared in the air. It quickly swooped towards the incoming horned tiger, like a black beam of light. The moment that beam touched the horned tiger, the horned tiger didn't even have a chance to understand what has happened because he saw that his left and right side vision starts to become distant. That was the last thing the horned tiger see before its eyes became noticeably sluggish and lost their luster, and he split into 2 halves. Dead. That horned tiger in front of the sword beam of heavenly chi that was being generated from the dual shadow swords technique was like butter being in front of a hot knife. Its body was easily cut down in half with just a sweep of the sword slash. Only with the help of a powerful and profound technique like dual shadow swords was it possible to congeal chi into something tangible. In this life and death situation, Ace has comprehended the first realm of the dual shadow swords technique, sword as arm. All of this happened within few seconds. Eva didn't have a chance to react and help him. When everything was over, Eva comes to her senses. She saw a huge tiger was laying on the ground in 2 pieces. She hurriedly moves close to Ace, who was standing in a trance while holding 2 swords. "Are you okay?" she asked him with concern. Ace didn't notice Eva's arrival because he was in an enlightened state. So that's what it means by sword as arm. He has comprehended the first realm in this life and death situation, and mostly with the help of these 2 swords. Without these 2 swords, I can't imagine how long would it take me to understand the true meaning of this technique. Now, I know why I felt that feeling the first time, because these swords were made for the dual shadow swords technique. Ace was still in a daze when he felt something soft was touching his face, and he heard Eva's anxious voice. "Hey, are you okay or not? Do you need any medicine pills? I have some in my bag." She was panicked after seeing Ace didn't reply to her, and she placed her hand on his face to check if he was all right. "I'm fine, don't worry. I just have an insight on my technique. Sorry to make you worried for nothing," he said in embarrassment after seeing her so worried about him. He felt slightly warm in his heart, as it was rare for someone else besides his family or sister to care about him. "She's really nice to me." "Humph, you scared me for nothing. Since you're fine, then tell me, what was that technique, and where did you get these amazing swords? Did you get them from Ryland's storage ring?" Since Ace was all right, she relaxed and starts to question him like some curious child. Ace smiled lightly after seeing Eva returning to her usual self. He retrieved something from his thief space. It was a blue 1 feet long and 1 inch wide single-edged short sword. There were 2 blue gems on its hilt. It was clearly a sword for women. "Here, this sword is a 2-star weapon. I find it inside Ryland's storage ring. This is for you. Use it until we reach the city, since it is dangerous in this region of the forest. Once we reach there, you have to give it back, because we can't show this kind of weapon in open." He gives that short sword to Eva. Eva's eyes instantly brighten, seeing the beautiful short sword. She didn't hear Ace's warning and quickly grabs the sword and starts to swing it around to test it. A short sword is very suitable for her Shadow Devil Clan skills. She smiled after she checks the sword and said, "You don't have to worry about me. I can hide this sword with my new skill that can change my appearance. It can even change treasure appearance. It's an illusion skill of the Shadow Devil Clan." Eva waved her hand, and she starts to form a blue mist. This blue mist enveloped that sword completely. After a moment, the mist faded, and that sword turns into a normal-looking sword. Beside her, Ace exclaims after seeing this skill and couldn't help but think, "It is more useful than my two-face mask." But when he used true and false eyes, he saw the normal-looking sword turn into its original appearance. It appears she didn't master this skill to its full potential. It can only deceive early Chi Foundation building realm cultivator. Eva didn't know that Ace has already checked her skill true prowess. She wrapped her hands around her big chest and said haughtily, "What do you think of my shadow deception skill with it? I can even change my appearance and don't have to be afraid of the Chi River realm cultivators after mastering my skill to the perfection. For now, it can only work against the early stage Chi Foundation building realm. But it's enough in Red Mountain City." Ace was bewildered after seeing Eva showing her beautiful curves. He quickly looked down while he replied with a slightly reddened face, "Why, yes, it is a very good skill." To not embarrass himself further, he starts to collect the big tiger meat that was now into 2 pieces. He didn't notice that Eva's eyes become even gentler while she was looking at him. She thought emotionally while she tenderly looked at him, "After you have done all these things for me and free me from my nightmare. You didn't even blink when you said you'll cover for me. You are really an honest and caring person. Now only you are worthy of knowing everything about me, and I will show my true self only in front of you. As for others, I'll become a true shadow devil." Eva makes her resolve. Ace notices a change in Eva's mood, but didn't pay much attention to it, since he thinks it was because of the new sword he gives her. He was just done collecting all the meat of demonic horn tiger when he hears the system's voice. Ace nearly jumps from the sitting position in delight. He didn't dare to believe what he just heard and asks System in excitement, "System, are you telling me that I can earn EXP by killing these beasts?" "Yes. If host kills any living being with QI or soul QI, the host can earn EXP and soul points." System answered his question without asking for TP for the first time in a while. He nearly cries from the happiness. He thought that System has finally changed its wicked ways for the better and asked again, "Did this mean I can ask any question and you won't ask for TP anymore?" "No. Since host finds this method on his own, System answered this question for free." She crushed his happiness in an instant. Ace thought weirdly, why didn't I feel shocked by this anymore? Overall, he was thrilled after making this discovery about EXP and SP. He looked at the dense forest, and his eyes twinkle. "You all are now my EXP. Hee. Ace and Eva travels in the forest for 10 days. The reason for the delay in their journey was Ace's obsession with demonic beasts. Every time he sees, or even felt the presence of a demonic beast, if it was a Chi Foundation building realm, he would escape with Eva. But if that beast was only at the realm of Chi Gate's realm, he would always hunt it down. He has even killed a peak-level Chi Gate beast with Eva's help. Because of these continuous battles, his improvement in his technique and skills were massive. He finally understands the meaning of being a weapon cultivator. The more I fight, the more I can understand the weapon technique and improve my skills quickly. He thought gleefully. Eva's skills also improved with her lineage inheritance memories, and a little bit of Ace helps. She always saw him fight using his dual shadow swords technique and learn a lot about how to use Chi with swords just by watching him. She admires him even more after seeing him in action. Today, they finally come out of the vast forest extension and saw a high red mountain peak in distance. That peak was the Red Mountain Peak, and the one-star Red Mountain City was situated on that mountain peak. Ace couldn't help but grin after seeing the Red Mountain in distance. But he was even more pleased about something else, and that was his EXP. EXP 2010/5000. Since he has killed many higher-level demonic beasts, he has earned quite a lot of EXP. Ace also finds out that if he killed a demonic beast a small realm above him, he could get more EXP. When he killed that peak-level demonic beast, he earned 100 EXP in one fell swoop. Furthermore, every time he gains EXP, his heavenly chi becomes denser. But he still felt it was a shame that he didn't get any SP in his whole journey. He has already reached the peak of Yellow Wind Core, and he already has sufficient SP to break through to the next level. But the problem was he has to gain insight on it first before he can break through to the next soul cultivation realm. Ace, look, there's a carriage. Ace was still deep in thought when he heard Eva's sweet and exciting voice. He also saw a carriage in the distance, which was slowly moving forward on an avenue. This must be an avenue that led to Red Mountain City, since these types of roads were only built near a big city. Ace became excited after seeing this carriage on the avenue because he knew they weren't too far away from the city. It seems like we already entered the territory of the Red Mountain City. You should get ready, he said to Eva in a knowing tone. Eva smiled sweetly after hearing his meaningful words, and a blue mist formed around her goddess-like face. After a moment, her beautiful face completely changed into another simple face. She looks completely different from before. This was Ace's plan to make her changed appearance before entering the city. After all the experience in his home city, he was afraid that with looks like Eva, she would definitely attract the attention of others, and not in a good way either. She still looks beautiful, but not as much as before. Ace beamed, seeing her changed appearance, and said, "We don't have any identity crystal, that's why we have to sneak inside. I'm confident that I can sneak inside without any problem, but I'm worried about you." "Humph. Don't worry, my Shadow Devil Clan's technique isn't inferior to yours," she retorted with a puff, but inside she was quite happy after seeing him worried about her. Ace didn't say anything, just laughed. After traveling with her for 10 days, he knew better than anyone that if someone underestimates her just because she was a 17-year-old girl, then they have a lot of pain coming in their way. After 30 minutes of walking, Ace stared at that avenue in the distance. He was vaguely able to see large walls at the peak of the mountain and the Red Mountain City huge gate, which was not too far away from him. The Red Mountain was just like its name suggests, it was completely red in color. There is a legend about its red color. People of the city tell the stories about the evil cultivator who used to live in this mountain, and he kills thousands of people here for his cultivation technique. Blood flows in this mountain like a river, and it turned crimson because of the curse of the innocent. But many people didn't believe in this tale, because if this mountain was cursed, then why the hell this city is a one-star city? Many people believe that this mountain has some kind of mysterious natural treasure. That's why it turns into red color. Many people, including the cultivators, wanted to solve this mystery, but they can't because if they wanted to search for the treasure, they have to go inside the City Lord Mansion territory. The City Lord family has occupied half of the entire mountain peak, and no one was allowed to trespass into their territory, if they value their life, that is. Because to this day, whoever even step inside the territory of the City Lord Mansion unnoticed, that person will never come back. It was like they would all vanished in thin air. After those curious and greedy people who wanted to search for treasures saw all those people vanished, they completely gave up on their curiosity or greed. Some stubborn and angry people who think that the city lord was hiding a great treasure alone wanted to report this to their overseer kingdom or some stronger one-star city. But no matter how much they report or try other methods, the kingdom will never act, and it seems that it was even proacting the entire city from other city as well. After that, everyone gave up completely, and the Red Mountain's treasure became an unsolved, untouchable mystery. Ace and Eva stopped at the edge of the avenue, which was situated near the forest. After resting for a little bit, they put on black robes with hoods that Eva has prepared before their departure. After all, they were going to invade a one-star city. Although the night was dark, a gentle silver-white moonlight shone upon the land. This gentle pale aura allowed people not to be engulfed in utter darkness. In the pale moonlight, two silhouettes were silently moving towards the tall and prosperous city. Red Mountain City was vast and surrounded by thick walls. Ace looked at the endless wall and the moat outside of the city. Many people were going in and out of the enormous city gate, and many soldiers stood on the city wall. Next to the gate were many guards. They were clearly cultivators who were checking the other people's identity. Ace scanned those guards with true and false eyes and saw there were a total of 10 guards. 3 of them were at peaks of the Chi Gate's realm, and others were only at the 4th or 3rd gate respectively. Wait for the chance, and follow me closely, don't fall behind, or we have to go into the forest again. Ace chortled as he whispered to Eva in a joking way to reduce the pressure on them a bit. Eva didn't say anything. She also knew that she at the peak of the Chi Gates was still inferior to Ace, who was only at the 3rd gate. Ace's eyes were fixed on the people who were going inside the gate and those coming out of it. Ace also noticed with his soul sense that those guards were relaxed and didn't do their job that seriously. They only checked their identity crystal with the big stone, collect the entry fee, and didn't pay much attention to them afterward. Suddenly, he spotted one big luxurious carriage followed by 2 small carriages moving towards the gate. Ace saw those guards have abandoned their posts and start to head towards that luxurious carriage in a hurry. Now, Ace singled Eva with his hand and used stealth and silent steps, and like a loose arrow drift towards the unguarded city gates. After Ace moved, Eva also used her special skill and followed him closely. She was astonished by the fact that she has to use her full power just to keep up with him. Everyone saw those guards going toward the carriage and stopped moving. They didn't dare to enter the city without those guards' permission because it was a crime, and if they get caught, then the punishment was very terrible. That's why those guards abandoned their posts, because they knew no one would dare to break the rules. But no one notices 2 silhouettes sneak inside the city when everyone's attention was on that lavishing carriage. Succeed, Ace thought joyfully. He looks behind and saw Eva has also traversed the gate with him and beamed. He starts to move in a random direction. He wanted to go far away from the city gate before stopping. After they stopped moving, they saw lively streets were covered with smooth bricks and were full of pedestrians. Such a scene was clearly rare in a 2-star city like Riverflower City. They quickly get rid of their black robes and start to move around the city. Ace has finally arrived inside of Red Mountain City. He curiously looked around. Before, he had thought that Riverflower City was quite big and lively, but now he discovered that he was a frog in a well. He did not know just how vast this 1-star city was, but he knew that it was many times larger than Riverflower City. Ace saw many people were gathering in front of a long wall. Let's go there and see what is happening. Eva walks toward the long wall. She was quite curious about this big city, and she wasn't as vigilant as Ace after crossing the city gate. He followed her, and when over the wall, they found that a lot of information was put up on that wall. They were either giving some directions or some kind of other information. On top of everything, there was also a map of the entire city indicating some inns, well-known stores, City Lord's Mansion, and Cultivation family's directions. The map itself was very detailed. Ace soon found where the important places were on the map. Another thing that had caught Ace's attention was that there was information regarding the buying and selling of items, looking for missing persons or items, and recruitment offers for various jobs. This was to help people who were new to Red Mountain City. They swept through the myriad of information. Eva pointed in a specific direction on the map and said to Ace, "Let's go to this inn. It's the best inn of the entire city." She wasn't reserved at all when she said that because she knows that Ace was rich after he robbed two of the most powerful families of a two-star city, and he even got a storage ring. So, he can afford anything in this city. "Let's go. I also want to see how grand a one-star city is." Ace smiled. He wasn't a stingy person, and since he has millions of ruby coins, he didn't mind spending some. They followed the map's direction and quickly reached the Grand Hotel of the city. It was a big 10-story lavishing building. Ace was a little surprised by this. It was really deserved its reputation as the best inn in the entire city. They both enter the inn and get two of the most luxurious rooms in the hotel for an entire month. Ace pays 20,000 ruby coins. Since he has the money, he didn't feel much by this amount, but those people around him clearly shocked by his wealth. Because by looks of his clothes, he didn't look rich at all. Even the lady at the reception was stunned. Ace didn't mind all this. Since he was already inside the city, no one would think that he is sneak inside. And all these hotels didn't check for information on their customers, since most of them were usually cultivators. They can't afford to offend them. Ace moved towards his room with Eva. They both were staying on the same floor, and their rooms were also nearby. If something happened, they can easily find each other. Entering his room, Ace saw all these luxurious items inside and big comfortable bedding. He couldn't help but felt the fatigue of all his missions and this journey. He was sleeping on the floor for at least 1.5 months. Because when he was in Grant's family, he didn't get to sleep comfortably. But when he thinks about something, he felt all of the stress go away in smoke, because now he was finally alone and can turn all those pills inside his thief space into EXP. He didn't do it because he was with Eva all the time in wildness and didn't want to show her any more of his secrets. She didn't ask him about how he gets all these mysterious abilities before, but she also knows the truth about his background. That's why he didn't want to show her anymore and still had his guard up against her a little. But he still hopes that she wasn't this kind of person and it was all in his head. Ace sits calmly and transmitted eagerly. System convert all the lowest grade pills, white grade pills, into EXP. Other than white rank pills, he wanted to keep those green and blue rank pills for an emergency. ========================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================== host thief space. Are you sure you want to convert all of them into EXP? =================================================================================================================================================================================================================== would give him more white grade pills than Ryland's storage ring. He didn't even check all those treasures of the Kelby family, since he thinks that they were not as valuable as Ryland's. But now he was thinking of sorting them out after this. Yes, he answered without any hesitation. ================================================================================================================================================================================================================================================ 7,560 EXP. Congratulations, host, on opening the fourth gate of Heavenly Gate. Host status has been updated. Ace was very happy seeing all the EXP, but after hearing about opening the fourth gate, he becomes confused because he was clearly in the third gate. Before he could inquire about it, he felt his heavenly chi start to surge. His organs start to absorb the heavenly chi at a high pace. He quickly closed his eyes and started to cultivate the Heaven Stealer's crystal body technique. After 3 hours, Ace opened his eyes. He has finally stabilized his cultivation at the fourth stage of Chi Gates. The gate of organs really has been opened. It was a pleasant surprise. System, why did I able to break through directly into fourth gate and without encountering any bottleneck? He was distracted by the fact because he was just breakthrough 10 days ago. This kind of speed in cultivation is unheard of. Host has already formed the Yellow Wind Soul Core in Soul Cultivation. It is equal to Heavenly Foundation building realm. That's why Host didn't encounter any bottleneck. System answered emotionlessly. Are you telling me I'm able to break through directly into heavenly foundation building realm as long as I have enough EXP? Then what about if my soul cultivation is equal to heavenly river realm? He asked frantically. Yes, Hostess is right as long as your soul or body cultivation is higher than others. You can directly break through into that same realm. Because the Heaven Stealer technique is basically one technique, and this is also the advantage of cultivating both soul and body at the same time. The system confirmed it. Ace takes a deep breath of cold air. He finally understands why this technique was taboo, and it has too many advantages and only one disadvantage. Like when he reaches the foundation building realm, he will be facing the heavenly punishment, and he has to withstand both body and soul punishment at the same time. He thinks it was a very low price to pay for the technique. Although, he won't understand it until he faced it. Now, I only need EXP to build my heavenly foundation. It seems like I need to start my journey towards the most powerful city of the entire 4th level lands as soon as possible. I need to gather information tomorrow. First, I have to find where that city is and how long will it take me to reach that city. I only have 5 years to complete my job mission. Ace muttered under his breath as he planned his next course of action. He takes a look at his EXP status. EXP 4470/10,000. System, if I convert all the pills inside my storage space, how much EXP will I get? Since he can now break through to the next realm without any problem, he wanted to enter directly into the heavenly foundation building realm as soon as possible. Host can convert them into 4,080 EXP. I still can't open the 5th gate of heavenly gates even after I convert all of my pills. He cites, but after resting for the night, Ace was feeling refreshed. All his fatigue from the journey has vanished. Now he was ready to explore the city. He goes towards Eva's room and knocks on her door. Since they were together and she was also a member of his team, it would be rude for him to not take her with him. Eva comes out wearing a white dress with a beautiful flower pattern on it. She was still in her disguise, but no matter how much she hides her true appearance, she can't hide her nation-toppling figure. She smiled seeing Ace and said charmingly, "I was just about to look for you, but you come for me instead. I wanted to explore the city and find some information, so I thought it would be more convenient to take you with me, since you were an expert on gathering information back home." He spouts some random nonsense while his eyes were unknowingly wandering around Eva's sexy body. Eva didn't mind his impolite gaze and said while beginning to walk, "Let's go. We should take a stroll around this city marketplace. I also wanted to see this city's customs and other interesting things." Ace didn't say any more and walked beside her. He was also planning to go to the market and see if he could find what he was looking for. They both exit the inn and go in the direction of the city market. After walking for some time, they finally reached a crowded place. It was the biggest market of Red Mountain City. There were numerous shops of weapons, herbs, medicine pills, clothes shops. Eva's eyes were shining brightly after seeing all those beautiful clothing, especially armors for females. She loved wearing light armor because she was used to them from a young age, and now she felt uncomfortable if she didn't wear one. Ace has already given her a 2-star weapon, so she only wanted a new set of full-body armor. While Eva was checking all those clothes and armor shops, Ace has noticed something strange. He saw in this big market more than 80% of people didn't have any big bag or other stuff for holding things. He only saw little palm-sized, colorful bags were hanging around their waist, and all those who had them were also all cultivators. Ace finally couldn't hold his curiosity and stopped moving in front of a small bookstall. Eva saw him going to the small bookstall and also followed in confusion. A middle-aged woman was standing in this stall. She was the owner. When she saw Ace and Eva were stopped in front of her small stall, she smiled kindly and asked, "Young lad, what kind of book do you need?" After seeing that woman smiled kindly, Ace nostalgically remembers an old auntie that was his neighbor in slums. She was poor just like him and had a little kid, but her husband was killed by someone from the inner region because he accidentally touched that nobleman's clothes. She was just a powerless, lowly woman, so she didn't get justice all at. On the contrary, she got beaten because she wanted to get revenge on someone from the inner city. After making peace with the fact that she can't avenge her husband, she gave up and starts to work just to raise her little kid. Ace was just shifted from his old parents' house in the slums at that time. That lady often gives him and Alina some food after she heard about they were orphans. She was feeble, but was very kind-hearted. When Ace left that hut in the slums, he leaves behind 300 ruby coins for that old auntie. Ace has a nostalgic look in his eyes after seeing his lady and said politely, "I wanted to buy some books on the information of cities, like which is the strongest city in the entire land of cities." He didn't want to buy anything first, but after seeing her resembling that old auntie, he didn't want to disappoint her for some reason. That mid-aged woman smiled wide, hearing Ace talk to her politely. He was her first customer, and it was her first time that someone has talked to her this respectfully here. "I have 3 books of this kind, and one of them even has a rough map of the land of cities. If you want to buy a more detailed map, you should go towards the City Herbs and Weapons shop. It is the biggest shop in the market and controlled by the City Lord's family." Since he was respectful towards her, she gave him a suggestion kindly. Ace nodded his and said while smiling, "I want to buy these 3 books, and I'll go to that shop because Auntie suggested to me." She felt a little warm in her heart after he said that. "You can have these books. They're not that expensive. Just consider it a gift from your aunt." She wraps those books and gives them to Ace. Ace was going to decline her offer, but seeing her gentle smile and sincerity from her voice and soul, he can't make himself hurt her kind feeling. After he thought of something, he accepts the books politely. That lady smiled broadly after seeing him accepting her precious books. If not for her difficulty, she would have never sold them. But giving them to Ace for free, she was happy about it. Ace asked her about something that was the main point of him stopping at this small stall. "Auntie, I was curious about something. Why do most of the people have those small, colorful bags hung on their waist?" She didn't mind his question. After all, this was the question that most of the people usually asked who were not from a one-star city. She said while smiling, "Those bags are storage bags that can store objects without chi in them. They are common in one-star cities and quite expensive. You can also buy them in that shop I mentioned before. I only know this much about them." Ace becomes astonished by this new information. He didn't think he could find something like this here. He thought that only space storage treasures can store objects inside them, and they were all controlled by a kingdom-level power, but he didn't expect that there are also these storage bags. Since they can't store objects with chi in them, it must be the reason that they can be bought by ruby coins in one-star cities. "I have to get one. It will be perfect camouflage for my thief space. I don't have to carry this useless bag and pretend all the time." He thinks, "Thank you, Auntie. I'll be going now. You take care of yourself. If I was still around the area, I'll visit you again. Farewell." He doesn't want to delay her business anymore and head in the direction of the shop that she suggests. He wanted to buy this storage bag as soon as possible. Eva didn't say anything when he was having a conversation with that lady, but when she heard about storage bags, she also becomes excited and said to Ace cutely, "Hey, I want one too." Ace couldn't resist her eager, beautiful eyes and nodded helplessly. "You're the old one here. Underscore, 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 underscore. That lady saw both of them leave her little stall in sight. "Looks like I still won't be able to make any money today. And my illness is getting worse day by day. But I can't make myself take money from that little lad. He was the same age as my Mloy, and he was so polite. Did I have to sell my body, after all, just like that bastard said?" Sighs. She was just thinking about a bastard when she saw there was a small bag under the other side of the stall that was no far away from her feet. She becomes astounded by it, because it was the bag that Ace was carrying with him. How does it appear here from that lad's hands? She didn't think much about it, and wanted to grab that bag and look for Ace to give it back to him. But before she could grab it and look for him, she saw a note that was written on the back of the bag. "Auntie, this is also a small gift from nephew. Don't reject it." She smiled after reading this note and muttered softly, "That brat. He must be a legendary cultivator since he was able to leave this bag and note without me noticing it." She didn't expect that a boy she was calling lad was a cultivator, and he even wants to buy those old books from her. But why? She grabs the bag and felt it was quite heavy. She opens it to check just what was inside it and saw that bag was filled with glittering ruby coins. "Oh, Lord heavens! she exclaims in shock. She wasn't that poor after all. She lives in a one-star city, but she was selling all her husband's old collection of books because her daughter has become ill and her husband suddenly went missing some years ago. She spends almost all of her husband saving to search for him, but it was all in vain. These books were his only memories left now, but she was forced to sell them because of her ill daughter. These books were old. Until now, no one has bought even one. Ace was first to come to her small stall and wanted to buy these old books. But after seeing him this polite to her and called her Auntie, she felt close to him and decided to give him these books for free. It was an unknown act of kindness from her heart. But she didn't expect him to return her kindness by giving her thousands of ruby coins that she needed desperately, and she can't even thank him in person. Tears start to fall from her eyes as said towards the direction where Ace has vanished. Thank you for showing this kindness to me, and my daughter will never forget about it.